Captain, we're caught in some kind of tractor beam.
Open a channel!
I sense a presence I've not felt in a long time. Nerds!
Ah, you again. Look, we're not nerds. If we're nerds, you're nerds.
Yeah, right. I'm a Sith Lord, and you're a bald guy in pajamas. Can you do this?
No, because that doesn't make any sense. If people can do that, why does anyone have a gun?
Oh, because you have to have the reflexes of a Force Master?
Oh, so you have to be magic then. That's dumb.
Oh, okay, the Force is dumb, but you beaming people all over the place isn't.
It's science! We convert a person or object into an energy pattern through a process called demon...
Oh, there you go. Yeah, pack your dialogue with bullshit pseudoscience.
We don't do that!
Sir, we cannot compensate for the gravimetric interference.
Not now, Geordie.
Oh, I feel like I'm in science class, but I'm getting dumber.
Do you want to talk about pseudoscience? Midichlorians, then!
That doesn't count.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Rollin' 20s. We are the show that says the only acceptable version of Con Funk is George Clinton and the Parliament Funkadelics. I am Jeremy.
Steve. Weirded out?
V.
What?
Remember, you can subscribe to this show and several others at the MSV library, missionstarpodcast.com. You can like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on iTunes and on Stitcher. Follow us on Twitter at the Rolling 20s. You can send us any fan mail, suggestions for the show, or hate mail at mspfreight@yahoo.com. The music you heard at the beginning of the show is by Machinae Supremacy. You can find most of their discography for free download at machinaesupremacy.com, as well as their latest couple of albums on amazon.com. The clip you heard at the very beginning was Which is Nerdier, Star Wars or Star Trek by collegehumor.com. You can find more of their videos under their channel, College Humor, on youtube.com. Before we get into the minutia of things, first of all, you probably noticed there's a couple different voices in here than you've heard. We have one of our co-founders, Anthony Bionis, here.
Yep.
Glad to know you're still around. And then we have one of our tech-savvy individuals, Brandon, is here.
Hello.
There's a couple reasons why they're here. First of all, in case you haven't noticed, this is our 100th episode. We've actually been doing this that frackin' long.
Holy crap.
I know, it's amazing.
100 episodes.
I still can't believe I'm in a podcast.
Yeah. Me too.
I still try and describe this to people, and they just look at... There's a mixture of people. There's some that look at me and just go, oh, you do one of those. And there's a few other that look at me and just go, oh, you do one of those.
Yeah, I think my father was the former of that category.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, better the former than the latter.
Yep. The series has begun from the very start of it. It was funny. So, quick story. When Jeremy first did the podcast, it originally started on the Mission Star podcast feed. And then after the first episode, I decided, you could probably do this on the website. And Jeremy's kind of surprised on my suggestion. It's like, oh, cool.
See, I remember it differently, because I remember approaching you and just saying, we do all anime and convention stuff. Yeah. Well, can I generate some content? What if I started a comic book podcast? Okay, try it out. So I grabbed Steve, we recorded one episode, I turned it in, didn't hear anything for a week, and I finally just sent him a message and just said, I sent you the promo, what'd you think? Can you give it a name? Okay. And that's how this shit started. I remember Steve and Jesse nearly choking me when one of the suggestions for the name of the show was Down the Bat Pole.
Yeah.
That is great.
I was not enthralled with that name.
I liked it.
Down the Bat Pole.
No.
But the impetus of this show, and it's kind of fitting for a 100, is that we have to talk about how to prep for Comic-Con, which, depending on what you're doing, changes very much. Before we get into that, there's only one crowdfunder we've got, and that is one we discussed last week for Shenmue 3. This was announced at E3 that EaseNet was looking for backers to help fund the end of the Shenmue trilogy. And it still has 19 days to go. It ends on Friday, July 17th, which is the same day Ant-Man comes out. Huh.
Oh, huh.
It has 46,476 backers. The goal to fund this project was $2 million. Well, we reported that they were the quickest to get to $2 million. They even beat out Mighty Number 9, Keiji Inafune's project.
Mm-hmm.
They currently stand at $3,746,398.
Oh, yeah.
they still have over half of their crowdfunder to go. I think they're getting ready to break another record.
I think so, although it is teetering off. But we'll see in due time for sure.
But that's for the existing series, isn't it?
It is. It's a series that started way back on the Dreamcast. I want to say in 1994.
Oh,
it produced.
Dreamcast. The first one was actually on, I think, PlayStation. I know 2 was on Dreamcast.
I'm not surprised that it got that far, that fast for the pre-existing series. But my number 9 was a brand new kind of concept. Not really a concept, but it's a brand new version of Mega Man. But
I was about to say, it's not exactly a new concept. It's Mega Man with a fresh coat of paint.
Yeah, but it's still not exactly Mega Man, so they're starting from scratch with everything.
Yeah, but this project here for Shenmue also has a very intelligent design in that it has stretch goals planned all the way through to 11 million if they get that far. You know, they've really built it so they could get that high just by dangling more carrots in front of people. So it's still going to be worth watching. However, I'm not going to be able to reapproach where it's at until probably after all the conventions are done and I have a chance to sleep off days of exhaustion.
Oh, it is Dreamcast solely. Okay.
I was pretty sure about that.
Okay, alright.
First up, in video game news, man, Batman Arkham Knight I have lost hours to, but apparently it's also lost a lot of shit itself. Warner Brothers has suspended all sales of the game on PC, citing all kinds of technical issues.
Huh.
Yeah, their statement reads, quote, "Dear Batman Arkham Knight PC owners, we want to apologize to those of you who are experiencing performance issues with Batman Arkham Knight on PC. We take these issues very seriously and have therefore decided to suspend future game sales of the PC version while we work to address these issues to satisfy our quality standards. We greatly value our customers and know that while there are a significant amount of players who are enjoying the game on PC, we want to do whatever we can to make the experience better for PC players overall." Unquote. There's more here, but it basically breaks down to there is a rumor going around that Rocksteady hired independent companies to help them port the game over to PC. And unfortunately, there's a dozen of them. And when you try and fit a dozen pieces together by 12 different companies, there's going to be a lot of problems.
Yeah, it just reminds me of the Aliens Colonial Marines fiasco. That was just 3 companies. If that's dozens, oh shit.
Not dozens, a dozen. 1 dozen.
Okay, well, even still, that's 4 times the amount of, the fiasco causing...
Well, to simplify it, think about how much of a mess the Halo Master Chief Collection was, and that was being done by one company trying to port 4 games into a new system.
Yeah, but that's with several different engines you had to work with.
Agreed.
I know, but that was an in-house project, though.
Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I think the Halo Master Chief Collection was a far more ambitious undertaking.
Yeah, it's one of those cases where communication is key, and you just don't know how much 12
This is something that me and Greg talked about on Mission Start Podcast the other day, and it's that it...
Use your words.
Words are good.
Yeah. League of Legends also had a couple of stories, and it seems like the further I get into League of Legends news, the more I'm finding out that the company running League of Legends, Riot Games, has about as many problems as FIFA does. First up, there was a League of Legends team owner who was banned for trying to poach players from another team.
Ooh.
The owner is a man named Chris Doombang Bawadi, who heads up the North American League of Legends team, the Renegades. They're an LA-based team. They were known as the Misfits until last week, and then they just rebranded themselves. Bawadi's had to divest ownership in the Renegades and retire from any officially recognized LCS team position. Any of them. He also has to give up the minority stake he has in Team Dragon Knights, who are another North American team. Bawadi's being punished for tampering with rival pro teams by approaching their players on multiple occasions and trying to actively recruit them by offering them salaries without informing the other team's management first.
Ooh.
I'd say that's kind of shady in a way, so I don't know.
Well, it's not just shady, it's against the TOS that Riot Games has with its professional teams. He completely broke a rule.
Yeah.
So, in short, he out. I don't know if that means that the Renegades are going to have to disband since he was the majority stakeholder.
I don't think he'd want his team like that he ran to like just disappear. So I think he'd do something to like make sure make sure it keeps running.
Probably, but it's one of those things where I didn't dig too much deeper because my interest in MOBAs is moderate at best.
Yeah, I've no interest in like Dota or any League of Legends, any kind of like game similar to that.
Me neither.
Okay. Well, it wasn't the only scandal to hit the League of Legends tournament series this week. The other one was the suspension of the coach of the European League of Legends team, Copenhagen Wolves. And the suspension was due to hacking. There was a serious accusation of hacking on the coach. But that's not where things end. As a result of the departure of the coach and all this scandal, 2 of their top members have decided to leave the team.
Ow.
The head coach was a man named Carl Dentis Cray. He lied to his players about conspiring with professional League of Legends commentator Martin DeFicio Lynch. We talked about him before. And he told players he'd received privileged information from Lynch that would help them win future LCS games.
Wow.
The Copenhagen Wolves was who DeFicio was planning on joining during his while he was doing his commentating duties. That's what got him in trouble. Now, from their 5-person lineup, over 2 days' time, Kareem Airwalks Bengalia and Joey Youngbuck Steltonpool both announced they're leaving the team.
Damn.
Both players cited a toxic team environment. Frick, man, that's a hell of an implosion. It's like finding out the Patriots are cheaters. No, wait.
Oh yeah, that's.
But also a League of Legends story that wasn't near as bad as those. Oh my god, this is one of those things people would actually commit suicide over. Could you imagine rallying your team from a series deficit, and at the moment your rally is successful, your team surrenders?
What?
What?
Why?
Okay, do you guys know what a pentakill is in this game?
Yeah,
I
it's
understand
yeah.
the word.
kill the entire damn team.
Okay, for those that don't know, this is an achievement in League of Legends when a player kills all 5 opponents on the enemy team within a small time window. You know, pro players make it look easy. You know, amateur players, they don't understand it quite as well. There was a player who submitted a video on YouTube that he managed to perform a pentakill. It's on the channel of YouTube called Quirlzts, Quirlzts. And just when he managed to land the 5th kill in the pentakill, that's when his team voted to surrender to the others. At the moment where the rally could have turned the whole thing around and started to even it up was when his team bended a knee. You want to see the 40-second video?
Sure.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh, let's see the heartache.
Depending on how that game goes, they still could have been completely fucked even with the panel.
True, but it's one of those moments that can turn things around. I sent the video.
What are you waiting for?
Okay.
Okay, apparently this guy does his own commentary. I wish I knew more about League of Legends just because I don't quite know what I'm looking at.
This is the enemy in their base kicking their ass.
Ah. There's a triple kill.
Triple.
Yeah.
Pentakill.
Killed them all. So
He
now's the time
successfully
to out.
defended their base
Wow.
against a 5-man push.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's
unfortunately-
rage quit fuel right there.
Damn.
Right. And unfortunately, because of the pentakill, they would have had time to regroup and really start to fortify, but
No, there's no
Innovation.
real fortification at that point. If they've already fought their way into their base once, there's no way to rebuild towers or anything like that.
No, but
The best they could have done is rush the other base, but I have
Rush
no
the other base
idea
while they're-
from
while
that
they're waiting for a
video
respawn.
how far they'd even gotten towards the other player's base.
Yeah,
They still
we have no-
possibly had to
the-
knock down some towers and everything else.
I had no idea the progress of his team, but at the very least, the entire team is waiting for a respawn timer.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but that respawn timer is what, maybe 2 minutes?
Yeah, that's true.
A lot can happen in that amount of time.
Yeah,
Right.
2 minutes
Yeah,
is a
But all
long
I'm saying,
time.
but all I'm saying is,
that's a long time.
if they hadn't gotten down any towers themselves, that it really would have made no difference.
Well, I have some video game movie news. Dwayne Johnson has been signed to do another movie. We heard recently that he's doing the remake to Big Trouble in Little China,
Okay.
which is at best a curiosity.
Mm-hmm.
And we've also heard that Adam Sandler is doing a potential video game abortion in the form of Pixels.
Pass.
I know, I'm not excited about this. I have so mixed feelings about this. Unfortunately, they're both very bright and happy and very confused and dour. Dwayne Johnson is signed up to star in a movie based on the video game Rampage.
What?
I'm not familiar with that game, but it sounds appropriate.
For those who don't know, what Rampage is three individuals who are mutated into Godzilla-like monsters. The entire conceit of the game is you are trying to destroy a city as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
While small soldiers are shooting at you, helicopters are bombing at you, people are throwing sticks of dynamite. You even bust open windows to find out where the civilians are so you can reach in, shove them in your mouth, and eat them.
Yeah, because you get health back for doing that. Yeah. It was. I loved that game when I was a kid, and yeah, you had one Godzilla-like character, one King Kong-like character, and then the sole female of the group turned into a giant lizard.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
the
her name was
werewolf,
Lizzie.
a giant werewolf, a giant ape, and a giant lizard.
Yeah.
All anthropomorphic, but still, though, this is one of those games that has even less actual story elements to it than Street Fighter. I don't know what the hell you're going to make out of this.
I don't either, but
Yeah.
it could be fun.
Yeah, you're
It could have been worse. He could have done Doom. Oh, wait a minute.
Wait. I actually went and saw that movie,
Dude.
man. When that came out, man, I feel so disappointed afterwards.
I was so glad I waited until it was being released on TV before I even bothered.
Yeah.
There is a smaller version of a Nintendo 3DS handheld that may make it to North America, thanks to popular demand alone. The Nintendo of America's president, Reggie Fils-Aime, he said at E3, quote, "So we've got nothing to announce here. We've certainly taken note of all the readers and consumers that have expressed their desire for the base model," unquote. America's not exactly known for wanting things smaller. But
right, because like real quickly, like example of this was like when they introduced the GBA Micro, was literally like the smaller version of the GBA, and it was like 2 buttons and the D-pad, but it was like really small, and that came out, but it didn't really take popularity when it did.
I just would like to know more about this popular demand, because I sent you guys an image of a comparison of the two sizes of 3DS, the older one and the newer one. Really not much to it.
Yeah, one's smaller.
Which is old and which is new.
The older one is
the
the
bigger
one on the
one
left.
would be the older.
Okay.
Yeah, I can see the smaller one being great for the kids, but for people like us, I would rather have the bigger one.
Yeah, I have bare paws for hands. I would need something large.
Yeah. I mean, it's all about, I guess, your hand size, but also just like the ability to take your DS portability is kind of slowly going away the bigger it gets. So, I don't know. Like, I want the portability, I like to have it in my pocket, but the bigger it's getting, it's just kind of making it harder and harder to do that.
Yeah. Further up in video game news, Kotaku and Patrick Klepek has a list of the most expensive games on GameStop's recently opened retro store. GameStop opened a full online store of older games, and they broke it down by the system as to which is the most expensive currently in their store. And the answer is, honestly, a little surprising. When it comes to old school 8-bit Nintendo, the most expensive game in the retro store is Mega Man 6 at $45.
Wow.
What was that sound?
That was just me dying inside.
Why is that death inside? It's just Mega Man.
No, it's just the whole thing. I don't know. I'll say something in a minute.
Okay. When it comes to Genesis, I've never even played this game. The most expensive game in the retro store is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Hyperstone Heist at $50.
Yeah, I don't that one either.
I never played it. I've never played this one on the Nintendo 64, but I've always regretted it. Clocking in at $80, Conker's Bad Fur Day.
I've never heard of most of these games.
Never heard of it.
Yep.
Conker's Bad Fur Day was one of the few games to earn a mature rating way back when, and I'm talking like the mid-90s. One of the enemies you had to deal with was a giant talking, spewing pile of shit. Literally, a pile of shit.
Yep.
He called himself the Great Mighty Pooh, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
You know, Conker was totally... he was an anthropomorphic squirrel. He was obsessed with nuts and the breast size of his partner and, you know, all kinds of stuff.
All good things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When it comes to the most expensive game on the GameStop Retro Store for the Dreamcast, I actually own this game. Clocking in at $80 is Cannon Spike.
Huh.
Anybody else remember that top-down brawler featured Charlie and Chun-Li and a few other Capcom characters?
No.
Huh.
Oh,
Interesting.
wow. I played it in our living room for a while.
Hmm.
When it comes to PlayStation, it's a tie at $90. Tales of Destiny 2 and Suikoden 2.
Wow, Suikoden 2.
Yep.
They're good games, but...
I still have Suikoden 2 for the PlayStation.
Yeah, I have both 1 and 2, and I think right now there's somebody trying to figure out where my storage space is.
It makes me wonder, like, if these prices are ranged that high, and say you still have the copy and you're trying to turn it in, would you get like a 50% of what that price would be as like store credit or something like that?
50 to 60, they'd still have to be able to make a profit on that.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Last on the list is the Super Nintendo, and at $90, it really isn't a surprise at all. Chrono Trigger.
Oh,
Yes.
Yeah.
but $90?
Final
$90
Chrono
on the
Trigger.
I
retro
can
store.
see it.
That's what the demand is, man.
I understand
Damn.
that, but $90? There's no way in hell I'm paying that.
Yeah,
Some
I
people
feel
I
like
still own the Super Nintendo Chrono Trigger. I'll just go play it there.
Yes. The thing is, somebody is asking that. That's the thing.
Well,
Or somebody's paying that. They couldn't price it that high if people weren't paying it.
yeah, oh no, I'm sure that people are paying it, but no.
yeah,
Maybe if
Yeah.
I didn't still own the Super Nintendo version of it.
like I feel like Chrono Trigger is probably one of the games added to the exception to the list so far, just because it is like priced at that much if you go on Amazon, eBay, and people are trying to get that game. So that I can understand.
I would say it's probably easily worth 100, 120, actually.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of the few games people still clamor about.
Maybe I should just sell my Super Nintendo version. Buy the
Yeah,
upgrade.
shit.
Yeah,
Makes coins.
yeah, man.
Last up in the video game news, we've reported a few times when they find glitches in the Super Smash Brothers.
Oh, what is it
And
this time?
This one is the fault of Pac-Man.
Pac-Man.
Pac-Man is in the game, and he has a move called the trampoline stage drop. Okay? The trampoline stage drop, I think it's an up B move. It creates a trampoline that looks like a small colored line that bounces rubber band style when somebody jumps on it. And Pac-Man uses it to leap higher in the air. If an opponent steps on the trampoline, then Pac-Man then create another one under his own feet, causing the original trampoline to disappear immediately. And the glitch part of the equation is what happens next. After the trampoline disappears, the character standing on it will fall down as if the earth has been removed from underneath them. So it functions like a trap. And the person that discovered this has a YouTube channel named StylesX2, and of course, if there's a YouTube, that means we have something to watch.
Oh, shoot.
I sent it. Okay, he has his own theme music.
All right.
Wow, he likes himself. Remember one of my old Pac-Man videos where he tosses the hydrant under Smashville?
Got a flashback. Got the.
Yeah.
Oh wow,
Oh.
that is broken. What the hell?
Yeah, he pitched that right underneath the world.
Okay.
I'm guessing everybody just stopped and said, "The fuck did you do?"
Well,
That got patched out, but in the most recent patch. But Sakurai gave Pac-Man another way to drop stuff under stages that might have turned him into a god. Here's the active play. Oh!
What?
See that? He just dropped Marth. And the taunt.
Wow. Okay.
So when the opponent steps on a summon trampoline, he summons another one and just drops him through the stage.
Okay.
So wrong.
Well, I know the latest debate topic in Smash Brothers tournaments.
Wow. Okay. That is very interesting.
Did it again.
That is broke as hell.
I kind of wonder if this was used today, because like there's a big tournament going on right now in Florida called CEO, and they had a huge Smash 4 tournament happen today. I wonder if maybe to use that. I'm gonna go back and watch.
Well, if there's any reports of anybody going to the hospital because a controller was thrown at their head, probably.
I wouldn't be surprised. I would be really upset too if that happened to me.
If that happened to me, I'd probably just be in stunned silence, and there would be a small crater left in my dressing area.
Oh, Smash.
We're moving on to the Marvel media news. This is where we talk about the Marvel projects that don't fit on the comic book page. Does anyone remember what role William Hurt has in the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
Harry Osborn?
No.
No, William Hurt was in The Incredible Hulk, the one with Edward Norton, and he played Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross.
Ah, yeah.
Okay. Hurt has actually been cast to reappear in Captain America Civil War.
Yeah.
Although he had kind of an interesting comment to the Los Angeles Times recently. He said, quote, "I don't think it's a reprise. I think it's a new iteration completely. It's a totally different production and a totally different style," unquote. And he also went on to use a very interesting phrase that'll be very familiar. Well, not familiar, but it'll drop a couple possible notes to comic book fans. He described the Ross character now as a human monster.
I was hoping to
Quote,
go this direction.
He said, quote, "What I created before was a Ross who was right out of the graphic novel type of thing, where he was much more of a cartoon, in a way, as the monsters were. His ego was just as big and his problems were just as big. I really did do that consciously. I created a General Ross before, which created a verisimilitude for the monsters, by making him a human monster. I worked really hard on the makeup and the exaggerated behavior and things like that and controlled psychosis. This is very, very different in what they've done," unquote. So some people are starting to wonder if possibly, now that Thunderbolt Ross is back in the Marvel Cinematics, that he may turn into the Red Hulk again.
I really want that to happen for some reason.
So what's the Red Hulk?
The Red Hulk is just as big and probably about as strong as the Green Hulk, except he doesn't get mad and he retains a lot of his mind. He retains his military training, tactics. He's dangerous. He's the first Hulk I've ever seen use a gun. Well, on purpose, anyway.
Well, yep. Well, also, instead of getting stronger, he just gets hotter. He actually will get so hot he ignites the air around him.
Yeah, and his head. He's also the guy that outsmarted Thor by holding his hand while he was holding the hammer so he could drag him around. They've also confirmed recently that Spider-Man will indeed, now that they've cast him, appear in Captain America Civil War.
I'm so excited! Oh, man.
This came from both Kevin Feige, who's running the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and Paul Rudd, who's starring as Ant-Man in the upcoming film.
Cool.
They said that Tom Holland is reporting to the Civil War set in Georgia to film with them.
Nice. Cannot wait. Finally, after years of Spider-Man not being owned by Marvel Cinematic Universe, that he finally comes over. Given it was a deal, but still, it feels right. It feels good.
Yeah, if only Tom Holland could swing by Fox Studios and like web up Wolverine and drag him along for the ride.
Yes. Yeah.
But Kevin Feige also promised this week that when it comes to the Black Panther and Captain Marvel directors this summer, they're looking at a big shift towards diversity.
Yeah.
He said, quote, "It's an issue across the industry for sure, and the issue is that we need to find the best director for any given movie. And that's really where we always start. If diversity is part of that, it's great. It's important. You'll start to see things across the industry as a whole change as more filmmakers come up through the ranks and become part of making movies like this," unquote. I appreciate the sentiment, but I like that he also added the double-edged sword that if they happen to find women or minorities who are making better films for them, that's who they'll go with. But their priority is just finding who's going to make better films.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
You know, diversity rocks and everything, but in the end, what's important for their bottom line is going to be who makes the best product.
Yeah.
Marvel also put out a press release regarding some of their TV shows this week. First up is that it has been confirmed Season 2 of Daredevil is all about Daredevil versus the Punisher.
Oh,
I can see that.
Oh, yeah, that's great. Awesome.
Some people are citing that is the perfect representation because Daredevil, in the first season, nearly crossed several lines when it came to his brutality and tactics. And then in the second season, he's going to meet someone who has no lines. Frank Castle, you're going to see him come up at the beginning of the season. You're going to see his transformation into the Punisher, and for the entirety of the season, it's going to be Daredevil trying to realize what kind of hero he wants to be while he's looking at what anti-heroes do. I just wonder if you can do the Punisher costume justice, because the comic book version of that suit does not translate well into movies.
Oh, the skull they have on Crossbones outfit looked pretty good.
Yeah, but that's a very different looking Crossbones than what's in comic books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the Punisher outfit has to be changed rather radically if you're going to make that work.
Yeah. Yeah, you would. You would have to, for sure.
But, V.
Yeah?
We may have to see if we can fit you into Comic-Con so that you can go to the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. panel.
I want to go.
Oh, you don't understand. There was another press release this week in regards to that show, and it's a poster that, in one view, explains the entirety of what Season 3 is all about, and I can say that speculation on the internet was actually pretty well spot on. Take a look at the image.
Oh, what do we got?
Interesting.
Ha ha.
That is the weakest Nelson impression I've ever heard.
Yeah.
That's better.
That's better.
The poster is the S.H.I.E.L.D. emblem, and emblazoned upon it is the words Secret Warriors.
That's awesome.
It's a callback to a series from 2009 during just... God, when was this? This was around the time...
Secret Wars?
I think it was just
before
the Secret Invasion.
Yeah, the Secret Invasion, yeah.
Yeah, it was the story of several young relatives of superheroes across the Marvel Universe that Nick Fury picked up from his files that said that these people were likely to have powers, but he wasn't quite sure. And the field leader of his team was Daisy Johnson, a.k.a. Quake. And in this show, that's Skye. So, I mean, they said it during the end of the last episode of the Season 2 that they were working on putting together a team. And besides which, you can't... Considering their universe that they fit into Marvel Cinematic, you can't count on the Avengers to be everywhere.
Yeah.
Those are some messed up people. Yeah, they're busy dealing with other shit.
In New York.
Yeah, only in New York. In Hell's Kitchen, even. This is what one neighborhood rates. Who do you think defends Brooklyn?
The Thing?
I know who defends L.A. Anybody who's fabulous.
That's true. Very true.
There's also a decent reason why Marvel Movies is not making an appearance at Comic-Con this year. They're doing a live internet broadcast of the Ant-Man red carpet premiere on June 29th. That's tomorrow. That happens at 6 p.m., 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And you'll get to see them arrive at the Dolby Theater. And some people may be saying, well, that's well before Comic-Con. Yes, it is, but that's the American red carpet. That's not the promotional tours that these people are going to have to do to promote their film. And Comic-Con, while it would be good to see them show up, that's slam dunk advertising. They really don't need to do that. They got to go other places. Because as much as I'm curious to see this movie, I can understand when people look at the promos and just go, why would that be cool? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It is rather interesting that they're deciding to go in that direction.
Well, I mean, we'll get into that later. There was a serious confirmation that came out this week. Cinema Blend is reporting that Janet Van Dyne will appear in Ant-Man.
Oh, shit. Awesome.
Really?
Yeah, Kevin Feige made the statement during a roundtable interview while on the set. He said, quote, "It factors into a number of spoilerish ways, but we will see Janet Van Dyne in action in the film and part of what happens to her. And then we will understand why that is the reason that Hank Pym doesn't want his daughter to follow in those footsteps, unquote.
Oh, I think I have an idea what it may be.
Bug spray. No, I really don't know. I mean, we've already found out that the Wasp or at least the implied Wasp in the Ant-Man film will be Hope Van Dyne, the daughter of Hank Pym, which is a character that doesn't exist in all in comic books. So it's an interesting wild card.
Interesting.
This is some interesting speculation. We just talked a few minutes ago about the Secret Warriors coming to Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Mm-hmm.
Clark Gregg actually talked about this project, and he had some interesting words as getting some tongues waggling and some curiosities rolling. Quote, "The rogue element of the Inhumans has been more or less defeated, and it seems like Coulson's trying to bring his beloved Skye, who has more or less fully realized his Quake, into a new super-secret team of powered agents, which very much sounds like something I know from the comics as Secret Warriors, which is exciting. It's kind of a rogue, quiet part of S.H.I.E.L.D. that gets very involved in some of the goings-on that happen around Civil War, which is the Captain America 3 film that's shooting right now, which is truly a great chapter in Marvel Comics," unquote.
It was an interesting period in Marvel Comics.
It's an interesting period, but think about it this way. Season 3 of S.H.I.E.L.D. should start this fall, right? Probably around late September.
Oh.
Season 3 of S.H.I.E.L.D. should end somewhere around mid-May of next year, if I remember correctly.
Uh-huh.
Civil War 3 comes out May 4th, 2016.
That could be one hell of a cliffhanger.
That could be one hell of a crossover. The Secret Warriors did figure pretty, not heavily into the Secret War, but they got involved.
Cool. Awesome.
You suppose they'll use this as the catalyst instead of the New Warriors?
No, I don't think they're going to kill off any members of the show, but it could be that you see several members of them get involved in maybe a couple shorter scenes in Civil War. Maybe that's where Cap goes recruiting from. He goes to some of his more trustworthy friends. You never know.
Interesting.
There is a manga companion to Avengers Age of Ultron.
Really?
According to Anime News Network, there's going to be a manga prequel to Age of Ultron that'll be published in the July 1st edition of Shonen Magazine. It's going to be titled Avengers Age of Ultron Episode O.
Huh.
The story's being done by Action Saga mangaka Yusaku Komiyama, and it's going to be focused on the activities of Tony Stark.
Huh. He did Ixion?
Yes.
Oh, okay. No. Makes sense.
I might check that out.
That's interesting, because I remember at a time there was an anime version of X-Men. They did, I think, 2 years ago, I want to say.
They did do an anime version of X-Men.
Yeah, it was a 9-page quick crossover that really didn't do anything.
Mm-hmm. It was interesting.
According to the mangaka, and this was translated via Shonen Magazine, quote, "Tony Stark is the hero who's covered in wounds. He's worried. He's continuing to fight, or is he continuing to fight really connected to protecting the one he loves? This special one-shot will be continued in the film itself." Unquote.
When is this coming out?
July 1st in Shonen Magazine.
Okay.
So in 3 days.
I will have to check this out.
And as we've announced, Tom Holland has been picked to play Spider-Man in Civil War and the Spider-Man standalone film being done by Marvel Studios. They've also picked a director as well.
Drum roll, please.
The director of Cop Car, John Watts, is on board to direct the film.
What?
What was Cop Car? That doesn't sound familiar to me.
Cop Car. Yeah, I'm kind of drawing a blank. It kind of sounds familiar, though.
It sounds vaguely familiar, but I don't know why. Cop Car. It's a Kevin Bacon movie. Why haven't I heard of it then? Kevin Bacon does everything.
This is this year, too, actually.
He's sporting
it hasn't come out yet. That's why.
Yeah?
Just check the date. It's due out August 7th of this year.
Oh, wow.
So he's a new director, man.
All right.
Marvel must have found something they liked in him to hire a guy who basically has little to no credits that I know of right now.
Yeah, I remember hearing that they were looking for a director, and they saw this director and saw the work that he did, and
Actually,
kind of went out there and said, like,
Yes.
I see shorts. I see TV series.
Any news?
Yeah. Okay, if you can write, you can do The Onion. He's done some TV movies. Cop Car is his first actual. Clown is his first actual film, apparently.
Yeah.
And that was last year. Wow, he's really a newbie director. Makes me wonder what he's going to turn out.
Yeah, this is really good. This is one hell of a jump start.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is. Yeah.
This will either make him or he'll be going back to the trailer park. Variety has reported that Marvel won that Supreme Court lawsuit that we read about a year ago in regards to toy copyrights. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Kind of.
Vaguely.
There was an issue about copyrights over a web shooter style toy, and the patent on the toy had apparently had some issues with it. And the guy who owned the original patent, a man named Stephen Kimball, was suing Marvel to get some royalties in the amount of about $500,000 and 3% of all future sales. However, Marvel won it in a 6-3 split decision. The original settlement agreement didn't have a set end date for the royalties, and Marvel discovered court precedent on when they had to pay out patents, which is why they had not. So in other words, when the patent expired in 2010, they just stopped paying him royalties, and Kimball was trying to get that money even though he hadn't renewed the patent at the time.
Oh,
so this is more of a clerical problem.
Yep.
The court cited Brulot versus Ties Company, which was a policy matter better left to Congress. So in other words, for patent laws to change, he has to go see his congressman and get the laws changed. Until then, the judicial's got to rule in accordance with the law.
Oh, well.
And last up in Marvel media news, God damn it, Play Arts Kai is back.
Oh, what did they do this time?
Well, they have made the crazy, they've made the Ava Batman, they've made several members of DC's Pantheon. One of the few things we seem to have liked in general was their Iron Man, even though we agreed that was a little odd. Okay, get ready to get frickin' weird, because they have put up their version of Venom from Marvel Comics.
Okay.
That should be good.
Let me see this.
Oh, take a look at this link, man. Some of this is freakish.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
That's really detailed and everything, and I kind of like the gray to purple iridescent paint they appear to be using. But what the fuck is all over him? He looks like an H.R. Geiger love toy.
He looks like a cross between Venom and Guyver.
He's absurdly muscular.
I kind of like it, actually.
Yeah.
It definitely looks like he's ready to play roller derby.
It's not as bad as some of the other. I love the hand attachments though, with where the symbiote's kind of coming out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but this is a Japanese product, which means both of those hands are really good for schoolgirls.
It's interesting. At the very least, it's very interesting.
Yeah, but this is a Play Arts Kai figure, so that means this will probably cost about $80.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm sorry. They have it on the story here. It's going to cost 13,000 yen, or about $105.
An arm or a leg.
Yeah, you can pull it right off the figure and get a discount. We also have DC media news, which is just like it sounds in the Marvel media news, except flipped to the other side. And first off is a TV show that I have not enjoyed, but it is major news to other people, Gotham.
Yeah.
I can't believe you finished it.
I haven't.
Are you kidding? I watched it all, and I can't believe I finished it. But they have announced that they're going to do origin stories in the second season for the Joker, the Riddler, and Mr. Freeze.
I'm kind of worried.
I'm actually
so
very
much,
worried.
but
this show has beat you over the head with who these characters are going to be once Batman puts on a costume. And the fact that they have Mr. Freeze, I'm afraid we're going to hear more puns in an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie.
They're boring, not idiots.
My question is, what do you think of the show?
What do I think of the show?
Yeah.
I think I could...
Something needs to fucking happen.
I think a better use of my time would be to have a chocolate milk and take a really, really painful bowel movement.
I think I only like one character, and that's the...
Penguin?
What's his name? Harvey? No, I don't like the penguin. Okay. I appreciate the penguin sometimes. Yeah, Harvey Bullock, I think his name is.
I was about to say, it couldn't be that boring as dirt Harvey Dent they had.
He's the only character that I like.
Oh, they've also actively cast another character for this show. They've cast Tabitha Gallivan as Tigress for the second season. The actress's name is Jessica Lucas, and she's going to work alongside James Frain, who's going to play her brother in the series, Theo. They're being described as two of the season's major villains. I wonder how major they are. I have not heard of the Tigress before in DC Comics.
Sounds like something from the League of Shadows, to be honest.
Very possible.
Tigress has actually been adopted by several people, actually.
I don't know if they want to ring that bell, though, considering how deeply the Arrow has been using the League of Shadows. Then again, this is a completely detached universe, so they could do whatever the hell they want.
Yeah.
Last up in DC media news, the Legends of Tomorrow, the spin-off show for the Arrow and Flash, has hired a showrunner, and they've set a premiere date. Phil Klemmer, he previously worked on The Tomorrow People, Golden Boy, and Political Animals. He's been tapped as the executive producer and showrunner for this show. And Deadline has reported that this show will come out on October 7th of this year. It's going to be a pretty heavy week because earlier in that week, on October 6th, The Flash and iZombie will have their new season premieres, and then on October 7th will be Arrow and Legends of Tomorrow.
Yes.
It's going to be crowded.
Yeah, V's going to have multiple orgasms over 2 days.
Oh my god, so much. So much. You have no idea.
The only thing that would make it better is if, what's his name? Thor showed up.
Chris Hemsworth? Oh.
Did you hear that sound?
That is sound of many women just losing it. It's like, oh, it's Thor.
No, that is the sound of V trying to lean back in her chair while reaching for a towel. I mean, holy crap.
That was what I was shooting for.
You know, she did chair yoga in that. Wow.
Good times.
Let's see. In general media news, there is a young lady named Margaret Atwood. She's doing a comic for a Geek Girl anthology, as they put it. Margaret Atwood does not like having her work described as science fiction, but she doesn't mind being called a geek girl. She's putting together a new comic book called The Secret Loves of Geek Girls. It's being funded via Kickstarter, and it's already met its goal, and it has 26 days left. The general goal to get this started appeared to be about $30,000. She's already above $41,000. There's still 26 days to go in it. The project is the brainchild of Canadian comics publisher Hope Nicholson, who's already successfully kickstarted 2 other collections. She said, quote, "I find myself very optimistic whenever I see an article on advice or information on geeks and dating. But soon this excitement turns into disappointment. The articles are almost always written with only the male geeks in mind. There is a desert of information geared towards the women in fandom.
That's because they have all the power."
Oh yeah, that's true actually.
It says, "Yet when I get together with my friends at events or over drinks, one of our major topics is how we handle relationships and crushes, rejections, unwanted advances, and general romantic and sexual entanglements," unquote. So it sounds like this book is going to be a slice of lifestyle comic book, but her description, though, sounds fun enough. I would like to read this. I don't have a great reason behind it. It's a view from the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And girls in fandom lately have had it rough with the whole amorphous Gamergate issue and everything. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's almost unsafe for them to just express their fucking opinions, whether it's for or against anything, just because somebody will threaten them and yell them down. And that happens to both sides. Even Gamergaters have been doxxed and their addresses put out, and they've had death threats. Everybody needs to understand this. It's fucking idiocy. It really is to go through all that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like on this show, Steve and I, he's been my best friend for almost 3 decades now, and we still disagree about shit. I'm not going to hurt him over it.
Yeah.
Besides, I already know where he lives.
I know where your wife and children live.
Oh, you
But anyway, yeah, it's utter ridiculousness.
Yeah, it really is. God damn Hot Toys, I hate you and I love you so much. They have released a twofer set now, which will probably cost somewhere to the tune of about $300 to $400. Actually, it's probably going to be about $400 to $500. It is a 2-set of 80s RoboCop and Alex Murphy. For just $295, you could get RoboCop only, but the initial offering of this is in a 2-pack. Take a look at the details on this. It's fucking frightening. That looks like Peter Weller.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really good.
Wow.
Yeah, they have put out some amazing detail on their stuff.
Oh wow, they even made the gun compartment too.
Yeah, and they even made it possible to make it look like he's flipping the gun Old West style like he does in the films.
Yeah, that's cool.
He can salute you too.
Oh, wait, they even have like an arm that's sort of ripped or something.
Yeah, well, that hand is actually fully posable, according to the story.
Yeah. Wait, it's somewhere in the middle of this, but you can see the one-finger salute.
The one-finger salute.
Yeah. They even have his weird Wolverine data spike and one of those Cobra assault rifles that ripped him apart in the first film.
This is really cool. Holy shit.
Yeah, Hot Toys makes amazing stuff, but generally their figures run a minimum of $200.
Deservedly so.
Yeah, this is something you put behind a glass case. Vacuum sealed.
Yes.
I would end up using it in D&D.
What, a Colossus?
I don't know. Maybe.
Ask her if she fucking cares, man. She'd whip that thing out. This is the Lich you're fighting. That's a Lich? Yeah, get through that armor, motherfucker.
That'd be great.
Michael Keaton has been announced to be working in another comic book movie. He's going to star in, or he's signed on at least, to star in an upcoming adaptation of the independent comic book Imagine Agents. And this could actually work very well for Michael Keaton and his talents, because the storyline of Imagine Agents is the story of two agents whose job it is to police the world of dreams. I'm sorry, I have that wrong. They police the imaginary friends of children.
Oh.
That's creepy, but still somewhat
a mature
interesting.
version of Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends?
Sort of. I can send you the cover so you have an idea of potentially what they're dealing with. They deal with things that are bastardized versions of different cartoons, as well as just random weird bullshit. Take a look at this.
Interesting.
Oh wow, this looks entertaining, actually.
Dude, that creepy fucking unicorn pony shit, yeah.
Oh, I just noticed that too. That's great.
Yeah, a zombie
dinosaur wearing a monocle. Excellent.
Wow. This reminds me of Kung Fury.
That was instantaneously drawn to the Transformer back there for some reason.
Yeah.
With the wings from Voltron, I just noticed.
What's the thing with the big eye?
No idea.
It's cool.
Cthulhu?
Possibly something from The Wizard of Oz?
Oh, yeah.
I kind of wish this was a show.
Yeah, actually.
Well, it's going to be a movie soon. That's what we just said. So something's coming. Last up in general media news, man, Disney is trying out all kinds of freaky stuff. They're doing pretty well with their Marvel stuff. Now they own Lucasfilm, which people are already wetting their pants before they even come out with a goddamn movie. And while they're working on another Indiana Jones film, they're still trying out something new. Reportedly, Disney has bought a pitch from an Oscar-winning screenwriter named Stephen Geigen. And the screenplay that they bought features Charles Darwin as the star in a family-friendly adventure tale.
That is...
Okay.
That's
not terrible.
It's a weird idea to make an adventure movie around Charles Darwin. Word is that part of the deal may be to have the screenwriter Geigen, who also wrote Traffic and directed Syriana, to possibly direct this movie as well.
It's better than Moses or something.
That's interesting, though. Huh.
I probably would have picked
Charles-
Noah.
Charles Darwin is an action star. What do you think that movie will be about? If this bird goes under 30 miles an hour, it will explode.
The thing is that I don't think a lot of people understand who Darwin was. I mean, everybody knows, survival of the fittest, so on and so forth. But how many people have actually read his book? I've never read his book. I have no idea what the fuck, Charles Darwin is all about, truthfully. Never really cared, but,
I can admit I haven't read his book. I'm very curious about his theories and his findings and everything. But I'm pretty sure people like Ken Ham, who runs that creationist museum, probably just calls him that guy.
Yeah. But at the same time, they have plenty of license.
Yeah, it's a movie after all. I mean, we live in a world where we've seen Abraham Lincoln, Vampire Hunter.
Yes. I still have yet to see that movie. Damn it.
I haven't seen it, but it looks
never
fun.
watched it.
I don't care to.
I don't even have the curiosity, but what worries me, though, is now that movie is out, there is some schmuck in junior high who's writing a report on Lincoln and said, and he cut apart vampires with his mighty axe.
It's canon, trust me.
Well, that's just like, the guy that was supposed to read To Kill a Mockingbird and, made a video thing on how to kill a mockingbird, and it was completely and utterly horseshit. He just basically made up his own story. But he still got an A because he animated the whole thing.
Oh, not bad. From there, we'll move into Marvel comic news, which is the Marvel properties that do fit on the comic book pages. And unfortunately, we have to start with an obituary.
Oh,
There's a cover artist named Earl Norem. He passed away this week at 91 years old. He was born in 1924. He served in the United States Army during World War II, entered the magazine industry as an illustrator. And Norem was known for his painted covers that he did for several comic books. He worked on Dracula Lives, Tale of the Zombies, Savage Sword of Conan, Hulk, Amazing Spider-Man, Big Top Mystery, The Deadly Hands of Kung Fu, Moon Knight, The Silver Surfer, and more. You guys want to take a quick look at an example of what this man did as art?
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
His artwork is fucking mighty.
Oh, wow.
Sick. That's awesome.
Wow.
Yeah. The man, he knew pathos and panache very well in his artwork. As a matter of fact, there's another example of his art here of the original version of Star-Lord. And no, he looks nothing like Chris Pratt in the way he was originally designed. Look at this.
Oh, wow. That is very interesting.
Someone likes Star Wars.
I was saving this picture.
I either say Star Wars or Flash Gordon.
Yeah, or both. Yeah.
Further on in Marvel comic news, Entertainment Weekly has talked with Jason Aaron and Chris Bachalo. They're working on Marvel's all-new, all-different Doctor Strange after the Secret Wars is over. And they're working on reinventing him. They said, quote, "We wanted a Doctor Strange who's always having to work for what he gets and show that when he shows up and uses his powers, it's not like Captain America throwing his shield or Thor throwing his hammer. Strange has to worry about repercussions that those other heroes don't have to worry about because he's a Sorcerer Supreme. We're talking about the forces of magic, so whatever he does has repercussions," unquote. I gotta admit, I kind of like that, because Doctor Strange is one of those characters that I'd never read because a lot of shit to him seems a little too easy.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they get to rebuild Doctor Strange from the ground up for this. When Doctor Strange appeared in comics, generally it was always because the Avengers were dealing with Mephisto or Dormammu or something that really didn't fucking understand, so they called this guy, who a couple waves of his hand and an odd incantation can open portals, force them back, and all this shit. Everything for Doctor Strange was so fucking simple. And now we've got a guy who has to deal with the backlash of his own powers, which is a good concept. However, the art they released as part of this, I'll just send you guys the URL so you can take a look. I will copy the pictures for the story. But if you scroll down there, you see Doctor Strange with a battle axe, Doctor Strange with what appears to be a Viking shield, Doctor Strange in something closer to plainclothes, an archery bow. it looks like this guy is learning a few different skills to continue his abilities. Maybe he's falling back on weapons because he's worried about the repercussions of his spells these days.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. I can see that.
Yeah.
So they have me more.
Those items he's using are somehow magically enchanted.
Oh yeah.
I'm betting stuff. I mean,
oh yeah.
You know, I'm sure he didn't just walk into a store and say, "1 battle axe, please." I'm sure
do you have a license for that?
Can I have an ancient Chinese shield?
Would you like that with or without fries? Further on in Marvel comic news, the Uncanny Inhuman series, we heard that that's coming out after Secret Wars. And we saw the promo pictures that showed Queen Medusa, it showed Reader, Triton, and the Human Torch. Well, they've added another character to the list of this series. The Beast.
Huh.
What?
Henry McCoy is going to be one of the Uncanny Inhumans.
Nice.
Okay.
Interesting.
This is turning into a weird hodgepodge of different members of all different squads.
Well, they've already earned the ire of Maria Hill.
It's getting weirder the more I think about it, because it just occurred to me, Medusa has actually been on the Fantastic Four for a short period, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Yeah.
She's been a replacement member.
Yep.
And I think the central story of this is family, so I think they've reunited with Black Bolt at this period.
Interesting.
But even weirder is that after Secret Wars, there's going to be a brand new Hulk series. And I don't even know how to describe it to you, so I'm going to send you the cover and tell you that the title of this new series is The Totally Awesome Hulk.
Right. I haven't seen this lately.
Okay.
His
What do you mean, okay?
No, I'm just
posture
like,
is interesting.
yeah, it's just like it's very
What's with the
I don't know. Can't find the right words.
shorts?
What's with the pants? He's probably tired of ripping shit.
Good point.
I'm curious as to, okay, I understand they blacked out his face. Why did they black out his hand?
Probably because the character is now speculated is the Totally Awesome Hulk, tends to wear something on that right arm that would be a dead giveaway.
That's why I was...
The thing is, though, a lot of people are speculating that this new Totally Awesome Hulk happens to be this guy. And I just sent you an image of a recent appearance in Marvel Comics by this character. You know that the faux Hulk that they mentioned is the same, or that they showed there is the same one, right?
Yeah, the hair.
Okay, do you know who that character is?
Amadeus Cho?
Yep.
Who's that?
The 7th smartest person in the Marvel Comics universe. A young kid who befriended the Hulk and believed in him when other people called him a monster and tried to either exile or kill him.
Hung out with him quite a bit.
Hung out with Hercules as well.
Yes. This is also a kid that he managed to hack 4 Freedoms Plaza, and basically his only ability is his mind. The kid's a fucking genius. At this point, it looks like he's turned to a teenager. So this apparently is going to be the new Hulk.
So what happened to Banner?
I don't know. Secret Wars is happening. All kinds of things could have happened.
Good point. Very good point.
Remind me again, how does Hulk got his powers in the first place?
Gamma bomb explosion. He was in that sweet spot in the radius of it that was not killed and not turned into horrible flesh-eating mutant. You know, science.
Of course.
It's also been announced that post-Secret Wars, one of the series that's been introduced in Secret Wars will be continuing. There's going to be a new #1 and an ongoing title of A-Force, which is the all-female team that was debuted in Secret Wars, I think, just 3 weeks ago. It's going to be led by She-Hulk and have members like Medusa, Sister Grimm from the Runaways, Dazzler, Captain Marvel, and a new character that was just introduced in the series called Singularity. But they won't be the only members. There will apparently be a rotating roster of high-powered females from the Marvel Universe phasing in and out of their roster as necessary. It could be a gateway to good stories. I mean, female characters in Marvel are notable, but they often get overshadowed by their male counterparts.
Agreed.
Speaking of which, Kelly Sue DeConnick, one of the major writers, female writers in comics these days, and an award winner, She's announced that after the Captain Marvel and the Carol Corps miniseries going on in Secret Wars, it's time for her to move on. She didn't say if she's moving to another project in Marvel or if she is moving on to other companies, but she's made it pretty clear that her involvement in Captain Marvel will be done by the time the Secret Wars is over.
Is there like a problem or just...
I seriously doubt it's a problem because her husband happens to be another Marvel writer named Matt Fraction and he's not going anywhere. So my guess is she probably just felt like she's gone about as far as she can get here and just wants to move on. Some writers have that intrinsic feeling as to when they're running out of ideas and they got to try something else.
Some never get it.
Peter Jackson. Let's see. And it's also been confirmed that after the Secret Wars is done, the Spider-Gwen series will be continuing.
Cool. Awesome.
However, this has implications for the larger Marvel universe, and I'll tell you why. Spider-Gwen is getting a new #1. Spider-Gwen's story will be continuing. Spider-Gwen will be remaining in her own universe.
Oh, in her own universe?
Really?
Yes, so some vestige of the multiverse in Marvel will be remaining. She's not going to be jumping around with Miles Morales. She's not going to be hanging around with Peter Parker. She's going to be staying in Marvel Universe 65. So some people are starting to wonder how all new is this Marvel Universe going to be after Secret Wars? And I think we're about the only show that speculated. I don't think things are going to change all that much. I've heard the hype. I mean, yes, they destroyed the original Marvel Universe, but I think everybody assumed this is going to be a Flashpoint-style reboot.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Also, post-Secret Wars, a new series is coming out of it. The Squadron Supreme is coming out. We discussed last week that the Squadron Sinister is their evil mirrors of the Justice League. Well, this story is a bit different because the Squadron Supreme is the the Light and Hope version of that team, except this team is being made up of a mishmash from across the Marvel multiverse. The Hyperion that's recently been in the Avengers comics, a Nighthawk from the Ultimate Universe, a Dr. Spectrum that was recently debuted in a Dying Universe from the Avengers books during the whole Convergence thing, as well as a character from what universe was it? The new universe of Marvel from DP7. Instead of using another version of the Wizard, which has a completely hilarious name, they're just bringing in another character from a defunct universe called Blur. It's not a bad idea. It might be time for it, though. I mean, after all, with Hyperion retaining his powers and Superman losing most of his, you can technically say they're very different now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And just a few days after Kelly Sue DeConnick said that she's leaving Captain Marvel, Fast Company is reporting that the Agent Carter showrunners Tara Butters and Michelle Fazekas, along with Chris Anka, are relaunching the Captain Marvel series. They're the ones who are going to be in charge of the creative on it now.
That's cool.
And I'd say that's not a bad choice, depending on how the writing goes. The Agent Carter showrunners definitely seem to do well with strong female characters, and boy, Carol Danvers is one.
Yeah.
I almost wonder, though, maybe they're, maybe in addition to working, they're researching.
How?
I mean, Captain Marvel is coming as a movie in 3 years.
It's true.
This would be a good way for him to get used to the character. I'm spitballing. I could be way off there, but it's possible.
Yeah, definitely. Only time will tell.
Yeah. We also have DC comic news. First up is the fact that Dick Grayson is coming back to Gotham.
Cool.
Okay.
In his own series, Grayson, he's been involved with a spy group, and he's been doing some black bag stuff. Remember, everybody thinks he's dead as a result of one of their big crossover events. The fact that he was alive was only known to Batman, but now he's returning to Gotham as of Grayson number 12 in September. That's going to be interesting, considering he's returning to a Gotham where Bruce Wayne is no longer Batman.
Yeah.
I wonder what Gordon's going to do when he sees him.
You kidding? I wonder what Batgirl's going to do when she sees him.
Or
just kick
Damian.
the shit out of the little bastard.
Or what about Damien? Shit.
Damien can fly and has a giant bat pet. I don't think he gives a shit what he does. But the other question is, if he's returning, is he going to be Nightwing? Is he going to try and be Batman? Do you think he's going to run up against the Armored Bat anytime soon? There's all kinds of possibilities as to where this could go.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as other comic book news for DC, Green Lantern Lost Army is coming out. It appears that a group of Green Lanterns is isolated in a faraway sector from their home base. They don't have access to the Green Lantern power battery. That could be a very different style of story. 5 Green Lanterns with everything to spare and nothing to lose. No, I think I have that wrong.
Nothing to spare and everything to lose.
Yeah, pretty much, man. I don't know if they'd be on a timer. I don't know if they have their individual lanterns. Even if they do, that would only be good for so long unless they got back to the power battery to recharge those. But the series is starring Jon Stewart as a central character, and other lanterns, Arisa, Kilowog, 2-6, and Shrilvrek. The last 2 names I'm not very familiar with.
Yeah.
But there's already a spoiler that's out as of the first issue of Lost Army, because a 6th member showed up, and boy, did he show up in explosive fashion. Take a look at this image of Guy Gardner. One of the more infamous and probably the angriest Green Lantern ever.
Yeah, the one that actually... Oh, he's wearing yellow, or green and red ring.
Yeah, somehow he showed up with... For no reason whatsoever, he recently walked away from all ring slinging. And for no reason whatsoever, he was teleported to this end of wherever they are with the other lanterns wearing both a green and red ring. He even calls himself the Christmas Lantern because of the way he looks.
Really?
Yes. So I don't quite know where this series is going, but I do know that DC is saying that Lost Army will be a brand new telling and storyline for the Green Lanterns. It has curiosity. I don't know if I'd read it, though. I'm kind of burnt out when it comes to Lantern Corps. Anybody else?
I haven't even seen the movies.
I've had very little interest.
You are so lucky.
I've had very little interest in the Green Lantern.
Like I said, Sinestro War was where it peaked for me. They were awesome, and then all of a sudden everybody could do ring stuff, and I got bored. You know, the different Lantern Corps were very different from each other, but in the end, the powers all functioned basically the same. Okay, from there we'll move into general comic and convention news. We talk about comic book projects that aren't Marvel and DC related, as well as news in regards to conventions. And the 800-pound gorilla in regards to convention news this week is that a deal was reportedly extremely close, and the final details were the only things left to be worked out for San Diego Comic-Con to remain in San Diego through 2018.
Oh.
Is this a good thing?
It depends on who you ask, because I'm sure people in New York and Las Vegas are going, fuck! You know, I even know people who are fans of Animax who are going, well, Los Angeles could hold it. No.
No.
No. No.
No.
Oh, hell.
According to a quote by Namara Mercer, who's the ED of San Diego County Hotel and Motel Association, quote, "We support the mayor's efforts to keep Comic-Con in San Diego and have worked cooperatively with our hotel members to come to a reasonable agreement between the city and Comic-Con. By and large, the majority of the hotels are on board, and the only delays were with a few hotels that were evaluating the proposal." Unquote. The proposal, in case anybody's asking, was that part of the deal for San Diego to retain Comic-Con for the next 3 years is that the hotel prices will be unchanged through 2018.
Oh, wow.
So what we saw for the last 2 years is what we'll see for the next 3 years.
That's kind of good, actually.
That's a really good fucking deal for the people who are going to this, because, you know, we've seen it. When you get off hotel blocks, the hotels there can charge you up to like $900 fucking bucks a night.
Oh, yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah, geez, yeah. Ugh.
Yeah. And they know the demand is out there. There are people crazy enough to do that.
Wow.
There's one guy who offered me a condo for the weekend at $4,100 for 5 days.
Wow.
Yeah, I told him thanks, no. But also, the speculation we had in regards to movies, or a movie, was correct when it comes to Comic-Con. Except, not entirely in the way I thought. There will be a screening of the Road Cut of X-Men Days of Futures Past at Comic-Con.
Huh.
Really?
Yeah, and it's not going on in the building, though. It's going on at Reading Cinema down 5th Avenue in San Diego on Saturday, July 11th at 8 p.m.
There's going to be a line.
Oh, it gets better than you think. If you get VIP tickets, okay, beyond the 2 tickets you get for the screening, fans that purchase the Road Cut early on Blu-ray and DVD during Comic-Con will also score a limited edition lithograph celebrating 15 years of the X-Men movie franchise. The Road Cut's going to have nearly 90 minutes of extra features, including deleted scenes, featurettes, and gag reels. And the entire package of content will be available at an MSRP of $19.99.
Nice.
Yeah, that's really freaking good.
You can buy the X-Men Days of Futures Days of Futures Past Road Cut on Blu-ray at the locations of the Fox booth at Comic-Con, booth number 4229, or at Nerd HQ IGN Lounge at the Children's Museum.
Wow.
Seriously.
Wow. That's nuts.
Also, in regards to Heroes Reborn at Comic-Con, we found out some of the plans that they're going to have. Heroes Reborn is going to make over a restaurant that's happening on the block across from the Comic-Con building. People who've been to Comic-Con for a while know that there is a restaurant right across from the Omni, or right next to it, called the Tin Fish, that typically gets a full panel makeover during that weekend. Before it's been the Blacklist or Grimm, this year it's Heroes Reborn.
Nice.
And outside of the restaurants will be a 4D interactive experience where attendees will have the opportunity to access their own extraordinary pyrokinetic ability through a multi-sensory experience of interactive visuals and kinetic effects.
Nice.
Oh wait, gets better. Fans will also be given the opportunity to take an animated heroic photo and tour through a heroes gallery featuring iconic props from the previous series.
Huh.
There's that sound again.
I like Heroes a lot.
I wish I saw more of it.
It's on Netflix.
Speaking of which, there is a trailer to the new Heroes Reborn series. It's only about 40 seconds long.
Shoot.
Yes, please.
I'm starting to figure out what V's markers are.
Chris Hemsworth without a shirt.
Mm-hmm.
I sent it. Jesse, you're cleaning that up. And we start out with the beginning of Terminator 2.
Alright, yeah.
Yeah, this looks happy. A bunch of places where you see where are the heroes in a world looks like on the brink.
Yeah, looks like...
So, it looks like this is in the same universe as the original series, but now the superhumans have vanished. And there's that eclipse.
And they're playing.
Wow.
They're playing an a cappella version of
Nothing Else
Metallica.
Matters.
Nothing else matters.
I was afraid you were going to say they're playing an a cappella version of the 70s Spider-Man theme.
There's a new one on the channel too.
Well, I shouldn't say a cappella. It'd probably be choral would be better because there was actual music.
Okay. Going back to Comic-Con and what's going on, there's going to be a ride celebrating the new movie coming out of Scream Queens. They're doing the Mega Scream Drop located at the Petco Interactive Zone, which is not across the street, over a bridge from Comic-Con. It's going to drop fans 120 feet.
Nope.
And capture a shareable social media picture at the same time. So you don't need a selfie stick. That isn't allowed.
I just felt my stomach come up.
At least it wasn't your testicles. The ride is going to be operated by workers who are dressed as Kappa House sorority girls and their fraternity boyfriends like in the show.
Wow.
And they'll be passing out, quote, branded premium items, unquote. You can ride this thing Thursday from Sunday from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. daily. And there's going to be Scream Queen branded ice cream carts offering free scoops around the gas lamp during Comic-Con.
Ah, yes.
They're giving away ice cream.
Yes. Smart. Because it's going to be...
As a fat man, you have my attention.
And from talking to other people about Comic-Con, it's going to be... From what I've heard, it's going to be hot as hell there. So
Humid as hell.
Yeah, it's going to be humid. It's not hot. It's humid.
Oh, okay.
No matter what temperature it is, you sticky.
Okay.
Bring baby powder.
Sticky.
Good to know.
Well, V's sticky already just from the concept of all this stuff, so that's the whole other thing. We've also been following the development of the original series, the original web series being made by Nathan Fillion and Alan Tudyk, Con Man.
Mm-hmm.
It's been announced Con Man has their own panel in Hall H on Thursday. That's going to include Mindy Sterling, Nolan North, Trisha Helfer, Felicia Day, and more.
We're not getting to see that, are we?
And Nathan Fillion and Alan Tudyk. I may take a shot at this, man, because I like the concept of this series. I love the sense of humor in it. Felicia Day is probably one of the most underrated comedic actresses there is. And besides which, it's Nathan Fillion and Alan Tudyk. Something's going to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know what, but something's going to happen. There's also been a formal announcement that Comic-Con will have a couple off-site events, including the Xbox Lounge at the Manchester Grand Hyatt, the Her Universe Fashion Show going on at Manchester Grand Hyatt on Thursday, July 9th. The Assassin's Creed Experience is back. You can parkour with the rest of them on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the promenade across from the Hilton Gas Lamp. The FX Fearless Arena, where you can escape vampires in a live virtual reality mission on Thursday through Sunday at the Hilton Bayfront Lawn. And then the Adult Swim on the Green, which is returning to Comic-Con, is behind the Convention Center next to Fifth Avenue Pier. That's happening Thursday through Sunday as well. This is all stuff that you can get to without badges.
Sick.
Nice.
I'm excited.
Let's see. Legendary Films, who have been known to make some interesting sci-fi and genre films, they're getting their own Hall H panel, and they plan to feature Crimson Peak, Krampus, and Warcraft.
Wait, what? Oh, shit.
This panel is going on Saturday, July 11th. It doesn't have a time set here in the story, but that's when it's set to occur. So possibly the first peek of the Warcraft film will be in Hall H this year.
Oh, man. That's cool. That's pretty awesome.
Now, when it comes to convention exclusives, usually the stuff we find out about tends to be action figures because that seems to be where the money is often. You know, not as often in comic books at Comic-Con, but collectibles, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Viz Media has announced some of their collectibles for Comic-Con this year, their convention exclusives. Boy, there would be some people that would kill at Anime Expo to get their hands on some of this. There's going to be an exclusive manga replica of Dragon Ball.
Huh.
Okay.
No, they're recreating Dragon Ball in color.
Oh.
And, wait, they're printing it on premium archival paper. The replicas are going to come matted and framed. They're going to be 328 millimeters tall, 279 millimeters wide, unframed. You can get these for $150 a piece.
Huh.
As well as they also are offering for $15 a replica of a page from the Naruto manga. Hand-numbered, limited quality, printed on premium archival paper, and will come in protective sleeve. As well as, for the same price, you can get a manga replica of a page from One Piece, or Sailor Moon RTV shirts.
Cool.
Or for $30, you can get a new Ultraman Volume 1 action figure.
Cool. Awesome.
I'm all over the One Piece stuff.
I know you're all over to the point that it's sticky now and we need more towels.
Overflowing.
I think I know what the headline is for this episode.
Sticky?
It's very
Feet get sticky. Now, when it comes to general comic book news, there is
we get just... Oh, man.
Yeah, there's a news story this week that tells me that my childhood is about to end.
Oh.
Top Cow has announced that in October, they're printing the last issue of The Witchblade.
Ah.
That series has been ongoing since 1995.
That long? Damn.
Yeah, it's been 185 issues. October is going to be its last issue. It was one of the tentpoles of Mark Silvestri's Top Cow universe for a very long time. It debuted after Cyberforce and way outlived it.
I didn't know that was that old. I thought it was more recent series.
No, about 2 decades.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things that came not long after the Witchblade was Darkness, but shit, she already killed him. So the finale will feature 2 stories featuring Mark Silvestri's work as well as Hawkins and longtime series writer Ron Mars. They're also going to bring back past Witchblade artists to do some pages in it, including Randy Green, Nelson Blake II, Brian Ching, Stepan Sejic, and new work from Silvestri himself, and a repurposed story illustrated by the late Michael Turner. Holy shit, that issue just became a collector's item just in that announcement.
Yeah, that's gonna go up for a while.
Yeah. It's also been announced that Titan Comics is working on an Assassin's Creed comic book.
Nah.
No. Well, you can meh all you want, man, but Assassin's Creed has a very big following.
I know.
Yeah, it does.
I even saw one of their members at a recent pirate festival, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, like it has a huge following, no doubt. I'm just tired of the series, game wise. Like,
well, Titan Comics, it doesn't say what era they're going to be using, but they are putting out the new series. The first 5-part arc is going to be illustrated by the artist of Doctor Who 4 Doctors, Neil Edwards.
Oh, cool.
So this Edwards guy, he's getting very big in independent books. And last part of general comic news I have, how would you like to bind your own comic books?
You got my interest.
That sounds interesting.
There's a Nebraska company called Houchen Bindery Limited. Houchen. They've emerged as one of the more popular in a sub-industry utilized by pros, publishers, and fans alike to bind never-collected comic series like ROM Space Knight, along with custom collections to the owner's specifications. Okay, in other words, you can send them recreations of comic books, they'll bind it for you and send it to you. You can send them original comic books, they'll bind it for you and send it to you. The difference is how they bind. Their version of the collected ROM Space Knight, holy shit, dude, I don't even read ROM, and I would be proud to have this on a shelf. Take a look at what they do. They bind it in such a way so that the binding actually appears as part of a collected picture if you want it.
Oh, okay.
And they can do this, like I said, with either existing comic series, original comic series. The average cost to get them bound would be $22.
That's
as a single
cool.
Yeah, as a single basic book. That probably doesn't involve the artwork and everything.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
To get a book started, customers need to provide the comics they would like bound along with their order form indicating how they would like their books completed. So that's how they get away with the copyright issue, since they're not Marvel or DC affiliated. They're getting actual comic books and binding them into these books for other people. You know, as a reader, that's awesome, but you can almost hear a million fans cry out in horror and suddenly silence. You know, rip apart my comic books? Are you mad?
You are a madman, sir.
Alright, we're moving on into anime Japan news. Because most of the people in this room are anime fans, we tend to talk about the news from across the Pacific Ocean, as well as some of the interesting cultural items that just really show the differences between what we as peoples. There is a recording artist in Japan known as Kyari Pamyu, and she decided to do a commercial for Animal Crossing.
Animal Crossing?
Yes. It's a new game, I think, called Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer. It's the newest entry into the Animal Crossing franchise. It's due out July 30th in Japan. And you know what? I have not seen this, but you know how Japanese commercials are. They're either really straightforward, or they are basically visual crack. And I don't know where this is going to fit into it, but it is Kyari Pamyu dressed up in a very interesting outfit surrounded by Animal Crossing 3D rendered characters. So I imagine this is going the same way as Tommy Lee Jones advertising coffee. I sent the video. Wow, so this is what Animal Crossing is? I've never actually viewed it.
Neither have
I unfortunately have.
Why?
One of the characters in Smash.
Why didn't it just whisper to her? Did it say something about her ass? Okay, you serve coffee in this game. Everybody talks like the Chipmunks.
What?
Oh, thank God!
I thought that was a different body part.
Yeah, I know. When they showed that sound was her pinching something, and I thought she just pinched somebody's ass. I was about to say, inappropriate! Inappropriate! I need an adult!
We all saw that.
These commercials kind of give me a little bit of diabetes, but it could be worse. It could be commercials from Mexico. Nothing but sex.
True.
Yeah, give me some of that.
I don't think that's an appropriate advertising route for this particular genre.
Probably not for this one, no. Although, judging by what we just saw, it came pretty damn close. We also have a small promo video from the Death Note live-action TV drama coming out. It's supposed to be a mishmash of random scenes reflecting the deceptive nature of the trailers.
Believe it or not, I've actually seen Death Note recently.
Really?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Tied to a chair?
No.
I just know your thoughts on anime and Japanese culture, so I was assuming there was a knife involved somewhere.
Oh, someone was just like, I want to watch this, and we watched it.
Okay. Wow, nobody died. Awesome.
Oh no, many people. Many people died.
Many people did.
And the trail of blood was seen for years as she crossed the wall. Oh, I sent the video. Yep, the fantastic live series about writing.
Alright. English majors already getting turned on by this.
Oh, so they did a pretty good job of having...
Yeah, the homunculus looks pretty good, actually.
Yeah.
Wow. This actually does look a bit intense.
I thought I saw the actor from Hero that played Hero in Heroes in there.
He might be. Masaoka does speak fluent Japanese.
Masaoka, that's right.
You know what? I'll be honest, I think this might be better as a live action.
This might be my gateway to actually checking out Death Note for the first time in my life.
I like the concept.
The live action movies was pretty good, but I think this would be actually a lot better.
Yeah, looks good.
Alright, you never know these days. But I have a trailer from something else we made fun of a little while ago. We have the subtitle trailer for the new movie from the Naruto series, Boruto. Or Bolt.
Cool.
And I remember how much comedy we found when we found out what the name of Naruto's son was. He sounds like, with a name like Boruto, I mean, in English anyway, he sounds like an accountant, like he works at the Gap or some weird shit like that.
It is kind of close to Borat, if you think about it.
Kind of close to boring, too. I sent the video.
And Naruto.
The handsome figure in the jacket.
And there's the titular character.
Yeah, there's a little shit.
And he's jumping through tree branches for no apparent reason.
It's not subtitled. Yeah, this whole thing is where ninjas are the military instead of the standard mechanized stuff.
Yeah.
Cool.
Oh.
Hey.
Oh, she got her Sharingan already.
Yeah, Rock Lee had a child.
With who? Wait. Oh, sorry, with Tenten. Forgot.
I was about to say, considering that guy, you might as well ask with what.
Running into Sasuke.
And running away from very quickly.
Oh, is he donning the,
No, don't do that. Don't get coffee. Don't put on the jacket. The only way this is going to succeed is if it finds its own path.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, hey.
Gara.
That's cool.
Gara got a haircut. Sakura looks like put on that chakra diamond.
Yeah. Well, she had that before Naruto even ended.
Dude, I checked out on that series so long ago. Was that Sasuke's brother's headband?
I think so. Cool. Alright.
You know, as a standalone movie, I might actually check this out.
Wow.
That's interesting. It looks like he had the Chidori.
Yeah. That's what he kicked out. Maybe that's what he was talking to Sasuke about, because in this, from what I've understood in the promos, it looks like the relationship between Naruto and Bolt is very tumultuous. He doesn't want Naruto's path. He wants to be recognized, but he doesn't want to be a leader, so he's trying to find different ways to be what he wants to be.
That's interesting. That's cool, though, too, at the same time. I don't want to be like you, Dad. I want to be different.
I want to slap people up the head with lightning instead. Please, Uncle Kakashi brought good books to read.
You know, he's already different from his father. He actually has a dad.
Ooh.
Oh.
Damn.
Blah, blah.
Damn.
Like to take that knife out of the testicles?
That was, yeah.
Last up in anime and Japan news is one of those things that it's something every nerd needs, but I don't know if it's not one of those advertising formats I personally appreciate. This wouldn't make me want to buy this product anymore. Take a look at this.
What am I seeing?
No. No.
What you're looking at is the basketball anime Kuroko no Basket being used to advertise a very necessary nerd product, deodorant.
Oh, okay.
In other words, you can buy up to 6 cans featuring different characters from the series, and then use what's inside to make you stink less and possibly actually meet somebody of the opposite sex.
Is it scented by the color or what?
I don't know if it's by Menin or what, man, but it's just...
Creepy?
You know, I don't know about creepy, but I would be a little bit weirded out by having my can of deodorant stare back at me, especially the pink one.
I don't know. I don't really have too much of a problem with this. The series itself is actually kind of interesting, although I stopped reading it because I caught up and then haven't gone back to finish it. But
well, look at it this way. Once you're done with the deodorant, you can hollow out the can and shove it in a hole and really fulfill some fantasies for yourself. So there's that. Alright, we also have nerd interest news. Just because we like comic books and animation doesn't mean we as nerds aren't interested in the different technical and scientific innovations that are out there. Just yesterday, there was a special stream of the darkest exoplanet known to man cross in front of its star system. Let me see. The astronomers used the Carlos Sanchez telescope, and there is a planet that they follow that has a surface that is closer to its own star than Mercury and blacker than coal. And they watched it transit in front of its star.
Pictures?
It was. Unfortunately, the stream is over and there aren't a whole lot of active pictures left, but I can give you an artist rendition of what this planet looks like. And it looks like the kind of places where red shirts are killed by the hundreds. I'm serious. Take a look at this image.
Oh, that's cool.
Whoa.
Here is another probably more realistic image of what this planet looks like. And you could almost hear like the voice of Nagilum come out and fucking threaten you.
That's dark.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. The planet is identified as TRES-2b. It's the most extreme example of a hot Jupiter exoplanet. So somehow this sounds like it's a gas giant. Despite being so dark, it absorbs all light. TRES-2b is so hot it glows like an electric fucking stove.
Whoa.
So, Summer House. Not only that, there was another exoplanet that was recently found, GJ436b. It's about 33.1 light years away, in orbit around a red dwarf, which is currently at 2.5% the luminosity of our sun. In other words, it's really a small fraction of the heat and light our sun puts out. But because of the proximity to this Neptune-like planet, it puts out a comet trail during its yearly cycle. A planet actually puts out its own comet trail.
That sounds kind of cool, actually.
I got another artist rendition for you to take a look at so you get a concept. I don't know if it's a great thing because it sounds like the atmosphere is burning off, but this would be one of those things that would be off. That would just leave me awestruck.
This is why I want space travel to be a thing.
No, you want space travel to be a thing so you can run away from the rest of us. Let's be utterly honest here.
That's pretty.
Well, this is not... And this is something like this actually happens in our solar system, and that's why we got the rings of Saturn.
Well, the rings, though, are dust in an orbit around a particular planet. This is an example of a planet that's actually
ice particles
burning off its own matter.
Also, ice particles too. One of the moons actually erupts ice, and it gets caught in the gravitational pull of Saturn. That's part of the outer ring.
Yeah, but a comet tail and Saturn's rings are two different items. A comet trail is a burn-off. A comet trail forms when balls of ice get too close to a sun and they leave a trail as they're breaking down.
It's just an expansion of what's inside. Expansion of the eternal mass, being erupted out.
Right, but unlike the rings, which will stay in an orbit, comets can eventually burn out over time.
Actually, the rings will eventually decay when there's no more matter.
There's also recent evidence, supposedly from physicists, that we live in a multiverse.
Ooh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a paper on RZIV, which is one of the... a University of Michigan physicist named Fred C. Adams and his colleagues say in their paper on RZIV, which is one of the major differences in each universe, would be amplitude of primordial density and fluctuations. They've called this algorithm Q. They say that life may be proliferating in other universes that are better for living conditions. The Q describes a difference between dense and empty regions of space, in this case, a universe. A high Q means there are high fluctuations with extreme dense areas and extreme empty areas. In our universe, the Q isn't all that high, which is why we have a lot of matter spread out everywhere with big spaces between stars and galaxies. In a universe with high Q, galaxies would be far denser than they are in this potential universe.
So, the most important question, how do we get to the other...
Get there?
Yeah.
Don't ask me these questions. Do I look like a physicist? I'm sitting here on a goddamn podcast. Come on.
I'm going to become a physicist just to answer that question.
Well, Jeremy, you do most of the talking, so...
Yeah, but I don't open portals to the fourth dimension so I can figure out how to get my fire powers, okay? I don't understand how this works. Just because there's an article about a proposed multiverse doesn't mean I understand how the fuck it happens. Jesus Christ, you make it sound like I do. I gain power by osmosis. I read it and I understand all. No, fucker.
Maybe they said in the article.
I was flipping through it and it wasn't making a lot more sense as I read it, and unfortunately it's an article on IO9, which means details are going to be, or not IO9, Gizmodo, which means details are going to be kind of sparse because I don't think they expect their readers to understand it either. One person wrote about the paper, Ruth Angus, quote, "There's another opportunity for galaxies with a higher Q than ours. If stars are just the right distance apart that the free-floating planets in this galaxy are bathed in gentle, warming radiation, a planet won't even need a host star to be in the habitable zone. There could be potentially millions of free-floating, habitable planets heated purely by starlight. These planets would need to be far enough from the galactic center that they avoid collisions and extreme radiation, but not so far that they aren't heated enough by starlight. They need to lie in what authorities call the galactic habitable zone," unquote. The article is all about proliferation of life, how life can occur, and universes with higher Qs may have better opportunities for life than this one, is what the paper is about. As far as getting to other universes, sorry, V, you're going to have to consult your psychic because I'm out.
I'm becoming a physicist now.
She's doing it as we speak. She's figuring out the density of Chris Hemsworth's chest just this moment.
That glistening chest.
This is nerd interest news because there are a lot of geeks that will find this interesting. Disney right now is weighing a $1 billion expansion of their Anaheim parks.
Okay.
Wait,
now,
where are they going to put the stuff?
Hey, your question is as good as mine. I wondered that myself. They'd have to start building up and not out, as far as I can tell. Unless they start building it underneath the freeway and then it continues beyond that. But, here's the thing. The way that Disney's going to be able to get the permits from the city about this is that they say that for that $1 billion, they will build expansions to the existing parks, or possibly a new park somewhere else in the city. They're offering jobs, they're offering regular commerce, they're offering, many more tourists to Anaheim. What they want in exchange is for 25 years, Anaheim cannot charge tax on the tickets of Disneyland.
Oh.
And, I was listening to the news radio on my way in from work yesterday, and basically every quote about this from one of the city leaders of Anaheim was, "Yeah, we'd like the revenue, but we'd be kind of stupid to pass this up."
That's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, you can't charge tax on the tickets, but they still charge regular tax. What am I looking for?
Well, Disney doesn't charge tax on their tickets. They charge base prices.
Yeah.
If somebody says it's $95, you give them $95, you get a ticket, not $95 plus 10% sales tax. So it's, unfortunately, as much as I know Anaheim could use the revenue and everything, that is a pretty sweet deal that they're going to add a significant amount of park property. Because, as soon as they open that, people come running.
Mm-hmm.
My question is, will this finally include the Marvel area of the parks that I've been asking about? The answer to that is very likely.
Especially since during holidays, the park caps out so easily. If they add new expand it, you can have a lot more people in.
Yeah. very likely. Speaking of Disney properties, I have a list from IO9 and Rob Bricken. You know how he puts up some of the weird shit that they talk about occasionally?
Mm-hmm.
He put together what he calls a list of the 12 most incompetent Imperial officers in Star Wars.
This ought to be good.
Okay, I would ask you guys to give a guess, but there are so many different characters in Star Wars, I don't even want to go through that.
Yeah.
First on this list is Admiral Kendall Ozzel.
I don't even know who that is.
You do, but you don't know it.
Fair enough.
Quote, let's start with the obvious. Admiral Ozzel, the fleet commander who messed up the Empire, has approached to Hoth, giving the rebels warning and time to mostly escape. As Vader points out in Empire Strikes Back, Ozzel took the fleet out of lightspeed too close to Hoth, alerting the rebels to their presence and giving them time to put up their shields. Basically, Admiral Ozzel screwed up the job of parking his Star Destroyer. For that, along with a whole list of screw-ups chronicled in the old expanded universe, Vader offed him, unquote.
Yeah. Huh. Interesting.
Well, you know, if you got a history of screw-ups, your boss is going to fire you, and when your boss is Darth Vader, he doesn't fire you. He fucking airlocks you.
Oh, yeah. We've seen
basically, you're terminated. You're terminated.
Honorably terminated.
You probably stuck him in Hoth, turned him into a popsicle, and fed him to a tauntaun or something.
Wampa.
Number 2 on this list is Mulchev Wormis. Quote, the colorfully named Wormis was a captain of the first Star Destroyer seen in A New Hope, the one that captured Princess Leia's ship. Under Wormis' command, C-3PO and R2-D2 managed to escape in a pod with the Death Star plans, which eventually led to the destruction of the Death Star. So that wasn't particularly good for him. In the Dark Horse comics, Wormis was basically Vader's chauffeur, and he chased Luke, Leia, and Han Solo around the galaxy, and Wormis managed to screw up capturing them on multiple occasions. As such, Vader would force choke him constantly. Still, he managed to survive to get demoted to a desk job where he eventually had a heart attack, unquote. Wow.
Do you enjoy the choking?
I don't know. Oh, is that an Ewok choking me? You ain't got more than this, you bastard!
Sounds like a robot chicken episode.
Might have very well been. Number 3 on this list is General Nevar, N-E-V-A-R. Quote, this boob only managed to attain the rank of general because of nepotism. While chasing a potential Force-sensitive being to Hoth, his subordinates found traces of rebel activity. Never thought this was so ridiculous that he deleted their reports. Seriously, here's the quote. Rebels on Hoth? All I have is your word for it? What could they be doing on such a worthless planet? I'm deleting your reports. Of course, what his underlings actually found was the earliest beginnings of the Hoth base as seen on the Empire Strike Back. Eventually, Never was in the Battle of Hoth, on the AT-AT that tripped on tow cables and then was shot in the neck by Wedge Antilles and blew up.
Wow.
Somehow, Never survived that, only to be assassinated by an unknown Imperial, mainly for being a boob, unquote.
Huh.
You get through all of that and get capped. Fucking tool. Number 4 on this list is General Otto. Quote, Otto rose to the rank of general only because of his good friend Admiral Modi. I say only because he quickly proved himself to be terrible at fighting space battles and was also probably a drug addict. His relationship with Modi did keep him from being executed, and he was shipped to the distant planet Locke. He was supposed to keep the peace, but instead was constantly harassed by space pirates and rebels. Eventually, he got so fed up with trying that he stole a transport ship, went AWOL, and entered a demolition derby held by Jabba the Hutt in hopes of winning enough money to buy a luxury apartment in Cloud City, unquote.
Wow.
Boy, a host of bad decisions up and down the rail there. Number 5 on this list, Chalden Smethwile. Quote, this Imperial Customs officer worked as an inspector at the Kaleda spaceport. He was, without a question, a supercilious asshole, punishing pilots for the tiniest infractions. Actually, he hated space pilots and was so focused on insulting and belittling them that he often forgot the whole inspection part of his job, meaning pilots could often smuggle goods right under his nose if they could handle a few of his insults, unquote. Wow.
That's special.
It's starting to sound like the upper echelon of the Imperial forces was an expanded version of the Three Stooges.
Hmm.
Number 6 on this list is Captain Supervisor Grammel. And yes, I said that correctly. Captain Supervisor Grammel. Quote, this commander, the Imperial mining operation of Circapus IV, is a cautionary tale for incompetent Imperials. He managed to catch a pair of rebels who told him about the Caliber crystal and the whereabouts of Luke and Leia. Grammel passed along the news to Vader, but the two rebels escaped before he arrived in an explosion that cost Grammel part of his face. Later, he was ordered to capture a group of rebel leaders and failed this too, so Vader literally cut him in half with his lightsaber. I don't know why he died and why so many bigger idiots on this list managed to live, unquote.
Vader was having a bad day.
Because Vader's only one person.
Well, when I say half, I don't mean half like horizontally. I mean half vertically. I mean neck to nuts half.
Yeah, well, that isn't really so difficult with a lightsaber.
Yeah.
No, but still.
Maybe he just thought he was just half a man, so...
Or maybe he just wasn't listening, saw this guy in front of him and said, I wonder if this thing still works. Yep, still works. Number 7 on the list from IO9 and Rob Ricken of the 12 most incompetent Imperial officers in Star Wars is Loka Hask. Anybody?
Nope.
Nope.
Quote, this space pirate turned Imperial was far too focused on fighting rebel pilot extraordinaire Wedge Antilles to be a decent officer. The two tangled for years, with Hask killing Wedge's parents, framing Wedge for murder, and capturing him more than a few times. Eventually, Hask captured an experimental weapon called gravitic polarization beam, but forgot to check if it had an off switch.
Really?
Yeah, Wedge, tired of Hask's crap, had the scientists operate it remotely, destroying the beam, but also creating a hyperspace wormhole in Hask's ship, killing the hell out of him, unquote.
Wow.
Was that descriptor really needed?
I'm sure that was dressed up to make it sound like the Wedge was awesome.
Number 8 on this list is Lon Isoto. Quote, this admiral was so incompetent that he was known as Isoto the Indecisive in the Empire and the Rebel Alliance. Besides losing battle after battle, his hobbies included cheating on his wife with a harem of concubines and taking the drug Glitter Stim. He was assigned to Brental IV, where he was used as a pawn in various plots between the Empire and the New Republic formed after the Battle of Endor. Kendall let the New Republic establish a base on Brental's moon, from which to attack the planet, because he somehow thought that giving his foe the chance to make a fortified HQ in his effective backyard would somehow make them easier to defeat. He was eventually assassinated by one of his concubines. What a maroon, unquote.
Maroon?
That's old Looney Tunes.
Yeah, that's a Looney Tunes Bugs Bunny phrase.
Oh.
Yep.
Instead of calling him a moron, it's what a maroon.
Yeah.
Number 9 is another character I haven't heard of, Harlov Jarnik. Quote, by all accounts, Moff Jarnik was a coldly efficient leader in the Empire, but he was also a raging moron, because he was once given a pet Corvallan, a furry bipedal alien, which he always kept by his side, never realizing that Corvallan are totally sentient beings that understand the common language, and thus understood everything he said and did. Yes, Moff Jarnik unknowingly kept an actual rebel spy as a pet who fed the rebellion every single details of his command, unquote.
Wow.
Oh my.
But you know what? He was probably well taken care of.
Maybe he was eaten. Number 10 and 11 is a tie. The characters are Cumberlane Oresco and Miles Grint. Quote, you might know these two officers from the recent Star Wars Rebels cartoon. Their constant failure to capture a small group of rebels who almost never left the planet in general, and one 13-year-old boy in particular, it wasn't the most entertaining of failures, but did result in Grand Moff Tarkin taking the Inquisitor's double-bladed lightsaber and extending it simultaneously through their skulls. So that was pretty amazing, unquote. And number 12 on this list is Gerald Dox. Or maybe it's Goril Dox. Quote, after his homeworld was destroyed, Lieutenant Goril Dox was determined to help the rebels defeat the Empire from within. For some reason, he thought the best way to accomplish this was when the rebels were captured, to kill them all before they could be interrogated and reveal the location of rebel bases. It was weird. Eventually, Dox pulled this stunt at a target on Ijolus, only to discover he'd murdered everyone at a refugee camp containing the last Alderans in the galaxy. Nice move, Slick, unquote.
Wow.
There's actually an honorable mention on this list of 12 of the most incompetent Imperial officers in Star Wars from IO9. It's a character named Sulamar. Quote, technically, Sulamar was only an Imperial technician when he pulled this, not an officer, which is why he's not an actual entry. However, in Darksaber, he pretended to be an Imperial general, and yet early in his technician career, he managed to screw up something as basic as entering the orbital coordinates of an Imperial mining station, causing it to fly directly into a sun. They called it the Massacre of Medicat. His Wikipedia entry reads, it can only be guessed how Sulamar managed to avoid being decommissioned or executed. Even they don't know, unquote. Damn, that sounds like a bunch of tools. The Supreme Court has recently released a bunch of decisions recently. However, only one involves quotes from Spider-Man.
What? Okay, what?
What?
There is a justice named Elena Kagan. She's one of the Supreme Court justices. She offered an opinion on and she is an avowed comic book fan. Self-avowed. You know, she said she's an avid comic book fan. And she was working on the Supreme Court's case in regards to overturn of legal precedent and the responsibility not to do so without compelling reason. Okay?
So, with great power comes great responsibility.
Not only that, this is in regards to the case we just talked about the Spider-Man web shooters. The Stephen Kimball case.
Huh.
She said in her opinion on the case, quote, what we can decide, we can undecide. But stare decisis teaches that we should exercise that authority sparingly. She quoted Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, Amazing Fantasy number 15, Spider-Man, page 13, 1962. In other words, in this world, with great power, there must also come great responsibility.
Okay. All right, sure.
Okay, obviously she disagreed with Kimball's case, but that's almost like taking his case, crumpling it up, stuffing it in his mouth, and say, chew it, fucker.
Wow. Okay.
Is anybody familiar with a cosplayer named Jason Eisenberg?
No.
Nope.
No.
Okay, this guy, just by description of this story on cosplay.kotaku.com, this is a guy who should be a guest at Anime Expo as a cosplay judge. He was 31 years old and diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. In 2001. He was diagnosed with it just a week before Christmas.
Damn.
Okay, the guy's also married. I've seen his wife around at different cons. I've seen her around. I know that face. His wife is Cheryl, and they needed a release when he finds out that basically he's got a time clock of death all over his head, okay? They found their release in cosplay. Just 2 months before he was diagnosed, they had attended their first Dragon Con, and they were convinced to do so by their friends dragging them around. It wasn't even their idea. Once they saw the volume of quality in cosplay, Jason had an idea that he wanted to cosplay, and once he'd been diagnosed, he and his wife made a decision that they were going to make an outfit for the next Dragon Con. And once he got through his treatment for lymphoma, they were going to do it together.
Aww.
4 years later, he's actually recovered from lymphoma, and the pair have made good on their word, teaming up to become the cosplay duo of Pink Justice.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Oh no, you have no idea. You want to see some examples of what they do? Because they are not just prolific. They're good. Look at this.
Holy shit. That is some...
Wow.
Oh, damn.
The two of them as cosplayers are really detailed, and they look dedicated, man. This is some awesome stuff.
I've seen her.
So have I. I've seen her a lot. I couldn't say exactly where because it's one of those face-in-the-crowd deals.
That's cool.
God damn, these are great. I've seen some of these before, elsewhere.
At least the...
Yeah.
The last...
I wish I could do... I wish I had the time and energy and existing skills to do cosplay.
I really like their last picture for The Last of Us. That's really good.
Yep.
That's cool. I like that. That's pretty sick.
But that's not... the last part of Nerd Interest News I have is also a cosplay photo. You guys may have heard by now of Julian Checkley.
Not really.
He's known as one of the best Star Wars cosplayers on the planet. Okay? He made himself some new armor that's 3D printed. It has a working fireball gauntlet. It has certain items that fold for storage, and it has a wrist computer that displays a sonar ping loop. The thing is, though, for this project, he did not do Star Wars cosplay. Take a look at this, because this could almost be called too much of a good thing. Take a look at his costume.
Holy shit. That is awesome.
Nice.
Fuck.
He has cosplayed as armored Batman.
That looks...
That is legit. And when I said fold-up items, the fold-up items are batarangs.
Nice.
Wow.
Wow, this almost looks movie-worthy.
Right?
Dude, if somebody told me you're getting into a cosplay battle, awesome. Who's it with? Julian Checkley? Fuck it, I tap out.
This is ridiculously good. Jesus.
I give up, dude. You got me beat.
Wow.
Dude, look at that batarang.
Yep.
I was thinking about how much mobility he actually has in this.
Well, take a look at the last picture. That's him walking through a hallway. Somebody got a motion shot.
Yeah.
And a good one, too.
It doesn't look... I mean, it looks bulky, but it doesn't look like it's bulky enough to stop him from doing the movements and everything.
Right.
I'm betting a lot of that bulkiness...
That is just crazy.
Yeah, I'm betting a lot of that bulkiness is the armor itself, and it's probably padded, but still, he cuts an impressive figure as Batman. He makes it look fucking real.
A working fireball gauntlet.
Yep.
Oh,
That's
shit.
Ridiculous.
That's insane.
I wouldn't ask you.
He's actually a superhero.
Wow.
That's one of the few times I think somebody could drop down in front of me in a Batman costume, and I would have to clean myself up, man. I would just piss myself right then and there. Last, we have our What the Fuck Corner. We talk about those stories from across the internet that everybody finds in their social media that just make you go, the fuck happened? And as we discussed, Batman Arkham Knight has had some technical issues lately, which is not uncommon for new games, but sometimes those technical issues result in fucking hilarity.
Oh, what do we got?
First up, we got a YouTube video on the channel of Jeru4500, which may be the goofiest Batman takedown that's ever been recorded. I sent the video. See him there? He's got the guy.
What the fuck?
Down. Crazy maintenance. And it continues.
Wow.
There's a bunch of bodies that don't know what to do. Be a Flash, dude.
What the hell? I'm sorry, I didn't see that again.
I gotta watch that again, yeah.
That glitchiness, goddamn.
Yeah, that was seriously broken physics. It looked like Miley Cyrus was twerking at the bottom of a fur pile.
Dude, he literally sucked the last guy towards him.
I want to know how these bugs slipped through. Whether they're.
I think the guy's head was actually in the wall.
Yeah.
No, what happened was this is the retelling of the Batman versus Darth Vader. That's Batman holding up his hand. Come here.
Oh my god.
But we have another body glitch from a PS4 version of the game. This one was on the channel of Kunte88. And just with the name of Kunte, you already have my respect. I sent the video. Here you see him. He's just beating people up like he do.
Okay. Okay.
If I remember correctly, though, it's that last guy that's dizzied who's about to get a lesson in physics.
What?
Boom!
Oh.
Batman punched him so hard his ankle ended up behind his ear.
Ow. Great. That's great.
Let the raping begin.
Dude, your legs are not supposed to bend that way.
Unless you're an airplane.
That basically means he destroyed that man's pelvis.
Yeah.
And spine.
Yeah. And probably made a testicle or two ascend, yeah. But last up, when it comes to Batman glitch, this last video from the channel of Miluj Manavendra shows that Batman's biggest weakness is windows. I sent the video. There's Batman in a building. He's got to grapple to the building across, and he can't make it. Okay, we'll try up. Okay, I'm out of the building, and I still can't make it. He's just stuck on that roof.
Now you know why they're having such a problem with the PC version. Windows is Batman's
because the console version is kind of shitty right now.
You almost expect him to get on that little ear radio and say, "Damn it, Clark, stop fucking with me."
Oh. Confirm. Windows is his worst enemy.
Okay, it's no secret by now that as of Friday, the Supreme Court handed down a ruling that gay marriage is legal across the country.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so news coverage.
That caught me by surprise. I just had no idea what was even happening, and then Facebook one day.
I followed it moderately just because of the amount of gay friends I have.
Yeah, I'm tired of seeing rainbows everywhere now.
Oh, it's going to keep happening for months, man. It's going to be a while before. They've got a right to be happy, though. They can actually be official couples across the states.
The only rainbows he likes are from ponies.
Oh, fuck you. Fuck you.
Wait, which part of the ponies are they coming out of?
Well, there are technically two that are kind of gay, but don't really admit it.
Okay, this conversation just got way too weird for me. But all that news coverage created a bit of a problem. Because CNN in London decided to... CNN, the news network, aired an image from a gay pride parade. Take a look at this. Now, according to the bottom of the image, CNN's story was that they spotted an ISIS flag at a gay pride parade.
Oh, that's great.
Does anybody know why that's horrible?
Yes. I know why. And it's great.
Okay, for those that don't know, what you're staring at is not Arabic writing. What you're staring at is a bunch of silhouettes of dildos, butt plugs, and sex toys. So CNN, in its brilliance, found what they thought was an ISIS flag at a gay pride parade. But it turns out what they were showing was a picture of a bunch of dildos to, people across the country.
Did they apologize?
I have no idea, and I can't say I give a shit, because CNN is this is basically what I think of CNN at this moment. It's what I've thought about them for years now. So the fact that they did this doesn't surprise me in the fucking least.
I wonder what the reaction is after they found out later on.
Oops.
Yeah.
They probably got a bunch of phone calls from gay pride marchers going, "Hey, thanks for advertising my butt plug flag on your channel. That's great."
That's great. It's awesome.
And we've also shared that we have seen interesting animal photos. Lions about to eat people because they're angry. Gorillas about to punch people out because they're drunk and upset you're too close to their women. Sharks that think you look tasty. And sea lions that say, "Give me the fish, fucker." But in Japan, there are women who are now flocking to a zoo because there is a silverback gorilla named Shabani, 18 years old. Apparently, he understands that he's having his picture taken and mugs for cameras.
Really?
No way.
Yeah, he actually sets himself up to take interesting photos. You want an example?
Sure.
Take a look at Shabani looking pensive. He's actually got that expression. He's got that expression like, "This is going to make it on the cover. Time, baby."
That's cool.
What else does he do in front of the camera?
Well, let's see. I have one of him doing something that looks a lot like Ben Stiller in Zoolander.
I'm afraid.
I wish I could say something nicer about that, but take a look at this. He actually looks like he's sitting there going, "Yeah, this is my good side. Go on."
It's the same picture, isn't it?
No.
Yeah.
That's great.
And I've got one more example, and this guy takes a lot of photogenic shots, which is why a lot of people are saying he's got to be setting this up. Take a look at this. This one says, "Yeah, baby, I see you across the bar."
I can already see. Yeah. I can already see people use this as a meme already.
Yeah. Oh.
Are you kidding? I've already got a meme for you. I can't take a good photo, but this fucking gorilla does it. I quit. Unfortunately, not all what the fucks are positive. I got a negative one here.
There's always gotta be one.
Oh man, have you heard the story of the Super Arcade?
No.
Yes.
Okay. For those who don't know, the Super Arcade raised more than $60,000 in a Kickstarter to open a new arcade area. Okay?
Oh.
Because due to rent concerns, they had to move locations. Right? So they raised $60,000. They're going to make a new arcade. They've already picked out the spot. They've made the deal. All they need is the city permits.
Oh, no.
And the city of Azusa, California denied their permit. Would you like to know why?
Yes.
Why?
According to the city council, one member said, quote, "High quality does not really fit in with games called Street Fighter and Combat," unquote.
Oh,
what?
Yeah.
Fuckers.
This happened.
In other words, the City Council of Azusa thinks that video gamers are a bunch of lowbrows, low rents, possibly violent, and don't want them anywhere in their city operating as a business.
Well,
that's like the people that run Merced.
I can't believe that mindset still exists.
It's sad. The thing about it, though, because when that was happening, I was watching the stream, and out of the 4 people on that board, one of them was actually smart enough to, like, he knows what's up. He knows the importance of what esports is and how fighting gamers need a place to play, and then pointed these out to the other 3, and the other 3 just kind of refused to hear him out.
Well, some of the quotes from the city council, 2 of them in particular were, quote, this will contribute to people loitering and hanging out, unquote. Another one said, quote, I wouldn't walk in that center at midnight, unquote.
Yeah.
Well, that much is obvious, but that's none of your fucking business.
Yeah.
One other said, quote, from what I know about games these days, I don't think it's like what it was before, unquote.
No, they've gotten better. Imagine that.
One of the major concerns that caused the city council to turn this down, and this is stupid, there's only one bathroom at the location.
What?
Well, yeah, so, funny story. So the guy who ran this arcade in, Walnut, California.
Walnut Creek.
Yeah, Walnut Creek. And the way that Super Arcade was set up is that there was only one bathroom. And there's been people who had, like, horror stories about that one bathroom, and like it's kind of known with this guy alongside just kind of how the arcade was run. So
it's a shit excuse though, because the guy who ran the Kickstarter said I can build another bathroom.
Yeah, when they asked him, they'll build another bathroom, and to everybody else, it's like, yes, please put another bathroom in, for God's sake.
Make that one of your stretch goals, like the first one.
Yeah.
There's actually a petition going around right now at change.org to try and force the city council to rethink this idea. It has a goal of 5,000 signers. Right now it's sitting at 3,220 signers.
Yeah. What I've heard actually is because of the events of what conspired during that stream or during that night, everybody within the fighting game community, as far as I know, blew it up on Reddit, Reddit and on Twitch, not Twitch, but Twitter, and they tweeted at the Twitter account for the city of Azusa, and after so much response from a lot of people to their accounts and other various ways, they actually called up Mike Walton and asked him to come in and talk about Super Arcade. So it seems like the big response from the fighting game community and other people toward the city of Azusa has done something for them there to talk now. So
the thing is, though,
probably
this is a moment
going, well, fuck, we thought this was going to be something stupid and simple, and now all of a sudden everybody's getting all rage happy. It's like,
you got to be careful though, because this is a moment where the fan base could turn into its own worst enemy. They got to keep it clean. They can't let it turn into a Gamergate issue where they start yelling shit. They have to actually present a case.
Yeah, hopefully they'll remain
and
calm.
Yelling a bunch of stupid shit on the internet, that plays into the negative stereotypes that these people believe right now.
Exactly. Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like some of them were obviously really mad when it happened, but a lot of the feedback has been mostly positive for the most part. But I can see where they can go for sure.
Yeah. Well, in a happier version, Steve, Jesse, and I play Destiny on a fairly regular basis on Xbox One. Mm-hmm. How would you guys like to see how one Warlock managed to single-handedly stop a super attack from a Titan?
Yes, please.
Okay.
I want to see this.
I have no idea what we're talking about, but it sounds interesting.
This is on the channel of Alexis Pardon on YouTube, and the video title is Just Wow. I sent it. So you got a Warlock using the special weapon of No Land Beyond, which is already relatively hard to use, but believe it or not, that weapon doesn't play into how he defended himself. You see him already dancing around? He's gotten somewhere. You see his radar? Something's lit it up. Here it comes. Here comes a Titan. Bringing the pain, and no.
Oh! Did he deflect it with a melee?
He deflected with a melee plus a grenade burst. That's hilarious.
Wait, so he got shot by a missile and deflected? What? Wow.
No, the Titan was coming down to do his super move, which is kind of like an overhead smash, and then it crashes into the ground, radiates out this AoE. But before he could hit the ground, the guy jumped in the air and meleeed him.
Which
and knocked him back because he had his he was playing a flame type warlock with the solar wind melee ability, which knocks people back. I'm actually gonna have to remember that. I never really liked that solar wind ability, but that's...
Essentially what happened, V, is the melee version of a warlock's attack in this format is a telekinetic push. It has a little bit of distance beyond just hand-to-hand melee. So in other words, he just bounced this guy across the room on accident.
Nice.
The guy still hit the ground, completed his super move, but he was nowhere near the guy. That's
as a positive what the fuck, Newsarama put out a list of Superman's 10 weirdest powers.
Superman's what?
10 weirdest powers. They got to the subject because of how Superman recently lost a lot of powers. They decided to go through what his weirdest abilities in his history have been. And number 10 on this list is actually a pretty big staple of Superman, the super breath.
What?
The super breath.
He has super breath.
Yeah,
Yes.
he breathes out and he can freeze things.
Oh my God.
Quote, Superman isn't a blowhard by any means, but he's frequently shown himself in comics, movies, and television to have the amazing ability to inhale and exhale enormous volumes of air, enough to extinguish fires, suck the air out of a room, and even push large-scale objects. And even a tornado once. Another aspect of this power is his freeze breath, in which he exhales cold air so extreme it can freeze steam into ice. Or the Season 9 episode of Smallville, entitled Rabid, Clark uses it to cool a cup of coffee. No small feat if you've ever been on the wrong end of a scalding cup of joe, unquote. It is one of those abilities that the further you look into it makes less and less sense. Just because he can exhale strong doesn't mean he can suck in enough air to undo a tornado, you know?
Yeah.
Number 9 on this list, the Superman diet.
Huh.
Quote, it seems modern culture is inundated with one fad diet after another, but one diet that won't catch on, hopefully, is the Superman diet. In various instances in both comics and films, Superman has said that his body doesn't need food or drink like humans do. Instead, his body receives all of the energy he needs from the light of the sun.
Right.
On occasion, he's been shown to eat things, including a mountain of hamburgers in Action Comics 454. Superman's excuse is that although his body doesn't need it, he sometimes mentally wants to. Perhaps a vestigial function of his Kryptonian physiology, since they don't normally live in the light of the sun. This was followed up in an episode 36 of Superman the Animated Series, where he states that he eats out of habit. One can only imagine how good Ma Kent's cooking was to start that habit, unquote.
I think it would be more interesting if it, gave him distress to eat food.
Well, that's the thing. In Action Comics 454, the cover of it is Superman, shoveling a mountain of hamburgers into his face with a line of, it looks like drive-through waitresses bringing more by the stack.
So, what, addiction?
So, Jerry from Subway, he's not. Number 8 on this list, telekinesis. Quote, it turns out telekinesis isn't just for the women of the X-Men over at Marvel, as DC's poster boy has shown the ability to move objects with his mind on more than one occasion. In John Byrne's 1980s run on Superman, the writer-artist explained that Superman's ability to fly was a form of self-telekinesis, in which an invisible field envelops him and anything he touches to float by the force of his mind. Byrne went to further explain that his telekinesis also supplements his invulnerability. And just a few years later, in the 1987 film Superman 4, The Quest for Peace, Superman whips out the ability to use a telekinetic beam emitted from his eyes to lift people and even repair damaged buildings, namely the Great Wall of China. One more reason not to step on Superman's cape, unquote. I mean, given everything he already had, telekinetics, too fucking much. But I guess it goes to figure that number 7 on this list is telepathy.
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Quote, over in Marvel Comics, telekinesis often goes hand in hand with telepathy, and that's held true for DC's Man of Steel as well. In 1947, Superman number 45, the Man of Steel uses a hereto unexplained ability to read his enemy's mind and implant thoughts to release Superman from his restraints that the enemy just placed on him. Skip forward a couple of decades to the television series Lois and Clark, and that show reveals that all Kryptonians can communicate with each other wordlessly via telepathy. While most likely wouldn't want their relatives to have the ability to read their thoughts or vice versa, it could come in handy too, unquote. Yeah, I wouldn't want to read the thoughts of my relatives. I'd start freaking out. Number 6 on this list of the 10 strangest powers Superman has had, according to Newsarama, is from the second Superman movie. Trapping people in his S symbol. Quote, it's hard to say something negative about the 1980 classic Superman 2, but if there's one thing that must be said, it's this. What's up with the scene where Superman throws his S symbol from his emblem to form some sort of plastic-wrapped trap over his enemies?
I remember that.
No one magic.
No one before or since has come up with a logical explanation for that never-before-seen power, and it was unsurprisingly never used again in movies, television, or comics, unquote.
Yeah.
Number 5 goes into the Space Jesus theme, I think, is prevalent with Superman, self-duplication.
Wait, what?
Quote, what's better than one Superman? 2 Supermans. Supermen? Supermine? It might seem strange. It might seem like a strange notion, but it's something that's happened several times in Superman lore. The storied Superman Red, Superman Blue days of 1990s DC Comics come to mind, but that was due to outside forces. Decades before that, the Man of Steel did it on his own without any explanation before or since. Very early on in the life of Superman, in a 1938 episode of the live-action series, The Adventures of Superman, Lois and an old crusty prospector are trapped in a Pennsylvania mineshaft. Thankfully, Superman comes to save the day, but in order to save the duo, he must become a duo himself. Out of nowhere, Superman splits himself into two identical Supermans in order to save the distressed humans. Odds are low that he'll be using that power in Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, unquote. Number 4 is also one I've seen in movies, and I don't have an explanation for it, the Super Kiss.
Oh,
Quote for all you Don Juans out there, Superman's got you beat. We've seen in both film and comics that Superman has the unexplainable but envious ability to give an amnesia-inducing kiss on command. In the final moments of 1980's Superman 2 movie, Clark Kent gives Lois Lane a big wet one, and in the process manages to wipe out the confusing truth that Clark is also Superman. That might seem strange, but when you stack it up against the other heroes' attempts to keep their identity secret, then you might think it's not so crazy, but it is. And you can't blame Superman 2 screenwriters for inserting this strange superpower into Superman lore. It comes from an actual comic book. Back in 1963's Action Comics 306, Clark uses his memory loss-inducing lip lock on Lois to cover up her discovery of his superheroic identity. That well-timed morsel of affection left Lois dazed and confused, and the nearby Daily Planet staff agog at Clark's debonair ways, unquote.
Hilarious.
This one I've never heard of, nor do I ever wish to see. Super hypnosis.
Okay.
Quote, the Silver Age was like the Wild West for Superman in terms of his power set. Many of the previously documented strange powers come from that time, and the one we're focusing on now is positively perplexing, mesmerizing even. Way back inside the pages of Action Comics 38 from 1941, writer Gardner Fox shows DC's Man of Steel hypnotizing an errant psychologist named Harold Morton and forces him to turn himself into the police. You don't see that happening on Law & Order, do you? This mind-based power popped up again in 1978 Superman 330 by Martin Pasco and Kurt Swan, where Superman beats a villainous hypnotist named Spellbinder at his own game by hypnotizing the entire population of Metropolis via a hastily constructed television screen that floats over the city. If that wasn't enough, even Crypto the Superdog has the ability. Don't ask, unquote. Give me bacon!
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 Number 2 is high on the list of lame, super ventriloquism.
Yeah, we've seen that done a lot.
Yep.
Quote, ventriloquism, or the ability to throw your voice, may not require superpowers, but the distance for which Superman has shown himself to be able to do it makes it near impossible without them. The super ventriloquism was used repeatedly in various DC comics in the 1950s and 1960s, but it's even been seen in more modern comics like the 2005 miniseries The Question. Like the previous entry, even Crypto the Superdog has shown the ability to throw his voice and impersonate others, including Superman, through walls even, unquote.
Are you sure it's not ventriloquism and this is another form of telepathy?
It says specifically that the dog does super ventriloquism. So does he. I've seen it in comics where he talks about throwing his voice to statues and shit.
Yeah.
What I'm more scared about is the dog that's going, pet me. Pet my dog. I, Superman, command you to pet my dog. And last up on this list is one power I wasn't aware he had, and I really don't care to ever hear about. Shape-shifting.
Okay.
Quote, shape-shifting might seem far out in the real world, but in the world of comics, it's all too common and possessed by heroes in virtually every universe, with Marvel even possessing an entire race of shapeshifters in the Skrulls. So the fact that Superman 2 possesses this power may not be strange enough in its own right to earn the #1 spot. But how he does it earns the top spot in our list. In 1947's Superman 45, the same issue that introduces telepathy, Superman manipulates the muscles in his face and his entire body to assume the form of a pale, yellow-skinned alien with pointy ears and no hair, no less. This brings up a litany of questions, but let's limit it to 2. 1. How can a hero with nearly impervious skin stretch and contort it to such a degree? And 2. Why doesn't Superman use his ability to concoct a better secret identity for himself rather than wearing a pair of over-the-counter reading glasses as Clark Kent? Unquote.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I gotta hand it to him with #2, man. That busts this thing wide open.
You know, I don't mind characters that are super overpowered if they have a really interesting and plausible reason for being so. But Superman is just like, I get it from the sun.
Yeah, Superman's kind of the... how does Superman have that ability? Because he's Superman. And how do you know this? Because I'm Batman. Last up in our What the Fuck corner is the weirdest mashup I have ever seen. How would you feel if there was a digital artist named Darren Wallace who created a mashup between The Wizard of Oz and The Age of Ultron?
Oh, I
want to see this.
I saw this
running
around.
I've seen the Tin Man, but...
I present to you the video, Avengers of Oz, Age of Tin Man. I sent it. The following makes no sense. There's Oz in the middle of whatever.
There's Tin. Oh, this is cool.
There's the Tin Man. Double toot.
That's great.
The Mighty Lion. That's it.
Wow.
Scarecrow's cap.
Dun, dun, dun.
Wow.
Scarlet Witch of the West.
The cowardly lion.
Dorothy is.
Dorothy the Black Widow.
That's
You know what? All I can say about this concept is fuck you and take my money.
The Tin Man looks really
The Tin
good.
Man looks awesome.
Yeah.
Dude, I would see this, like, with the Tin Man instead.
Take my money, man. You've got it.
That was awesome.
That was great.
That was great.
Okay, the main subject of the week is Comic-Con. How do you prepare for it? What do you need for it? What should you take for it? What are you looking for, and how do you expect to get it?
I need
And
to take notes.
And what not to do.
What not to do? Sleep.
No, I highly recommend that one.
I'm kidding. Fuck you. First off, when it comes to... there's going to be different answers depending on who you ask about this. These are answers that work for us because we have our own particular needs, age groups, whatever you want to call it. And first of all, there's a lot of people who would say to go to Comic-Con, you don't necessarily need a hotel room, and that is unfortunately true. Not because sleeping outside is so preferable, or sleeping on the cold hard ground is so preferable to a bed, but frankly, security at Comic-Con is rather tight. And when I say security at Comic-Con, I don't mean just inside the building. I mean right outside the immediate area. Security is good. People will frequently camp out and line up for things in Hall H or the Dealer's Hall or Ballroom 20. I just wouldn't recommend it myself. Number one, I'm overweight, so my back already has moderate amounts of issues that I'm already working myself through. But number two, I don't think there's a substitute for a good bed and a shower.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially the shower part.
Yeah, bathing is highly necessary because as much as these are more relaxed fans, I would say, it is still highly necessary to use deodorant, and fortunately, most of them do. Unfortunately, you'll always find a few that seem to have forgotten this little tactic.
Yeah. Well, and especially with the prevailing weather there, the humidity, yeah, you're going to be sweating while you're there.
I thought you were going to say, especially given the Kuroko no Basket deodorant that we've just seen.
Hey, if they want to use it, they can use it.
Steve's right. Lesson number 1 is no matter where you arrive from, you're going to find out that San Diego is one of the more humid points in Southern California cities. Especially the gas lamp, which is right up against the marina, and the building itself of Comic-Con is right up against the marina.
I'm going to need new clothes.
I would recommend baby powder, honestly. It sounds stupid, and I don't want to smell like it, but at the same time, it's going to absorb a lot of the prevailing stuff. It's not going to stop you from sweating, but at least you won't be sticky as soon as you walk outside. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Which is possible. We're getting a lot of monsoonal moisture over the next week and a half, which it appears is going to be sticking around for a while. No pun intended, I swear.
But yeah, no, it's good advice. Definitely.
Number 2 is one of those things that goes into general convention prep, and it's something I think is absolutely vital. Never say that as soon as I get to my hotel, I'm going to visit the ATM, because this is a convention of 130,000 people, not counting the people who can't get in or just going to the third-party areas. Bring cash first. Because we've already talked about how the hotels are gouging people for 3 times their rates if they're not inside the Comic-Con room block. How much you want to bet that their ATMs probably charge somewhere about $5 per transaction?
Mm-hmm.
If you're thinking there's a possibility you're going to make a bunch of purchases, bring cash.
Straight cash, homie.
There are a lot of booths that will accept credit cards, but it's best not to chance it.
Yeah, and also, just because you bring cash doesn't mean you have to bring it all with you. Hide it in your luggage. If there's a safe in your particular hotel room, lock it up for a while, or whatever portions you think you aren't going to use for a bit. Just bring cash. That's all I can say.
Yeah. And again, don't be stupid, because yes, there's a lot of people there, but shit can still happen, so,
Right.
And from here, a lot of people are probably asking, so what time do I line up for registration? There's so many people, that will take like half a day, right? Oh, fuck you, no. Au contraire. Comic-Con, I lined up for that in 2013 at the back of the building early on day 1. When I say early, I was there by 6:30, and the line was already the length of the building, around it, curled up back again. So the line is over 3 times its size by the time I got in the back of it. And by the time I got into the back of it, it was about 15 minutes before the doors opened, and I could already sense it. My first Comic-Con in 8 years, and I'm going to spend my entire first day out here. I'm a fucking genius.
Nope.
45 minutes later, I had a badge in my hand.
Yeah,
they processed all of that in 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, when Steve and I got there, which was like a day later, I think it took us maybe 10, 15 minutes tops. The line didn't stop moving.
I went even after you guys, because I only had a ticket for Sunday. So when I actually went down there, it didn't even take me 5 minutes.
Actually, that's not true. The first year you guys came, I bought you both Saturdays.
Oh, okay, Saturday, not Sunday.
Yeah.
But even still, I went down there later, and it didn't even take me 5 minutes because there was no line.
Yeah. Comic-Con, whether it be WonderCon or Comic-Con International, has the best line processing I've ever seen.
Oh my god.
Usually when it comes to comic book registration, conventions, be it comic book or anime, the first words I'll tell you is bring a book, because you're going to be there for a while. Comic-Con, don't count on that. Bring a phone, bring some music, but you're not going to be there terribly long.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it's a well-oiled assembly line there. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep.
Now, and I think just about everybody in this room can agree that not only are they well processed, but this will be one of the most congested conventions you will see.
Yeah. From my talks with you, Jeremy, in terms of like how it is run with the registration, it's every time. It seems like registration has never been a problem at Comic-Con.
Right. Well, registration's never an issue, but there will be crowding, and there is no real way around that because there still isn't an expansion to the convention center yet, and they've hit cap every year for the last 10, I think. So if you think you're going to get through the dealer's hall or a particular hallway really quickly, odds are you won't. That's just the reality of it. So I think V has some crowding anxieties. My wife shares the same. Okay, she doesn't like crowds, but
I'm not crazy about it. I don't like.
Well,
freak
my wife
out,
has my wife has moderate claustrophobia, but she will still go to Comic-Con because she can get so much shit done.
No, she can just look up. There's plenty of space up there.
Yeah, but I think Steve, Jesse, and Brandon can all agree with me. If you say you're going to spend some time in the exhibit hall the first time you go through it, plan your day. I shit you not.
Yeah.
You could spend all day, one full day, shuffling through that hall and still potentially not see everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
And the map kind of helps, but the
map helps tremendously, but it doesn't tell you the story of a building that's about 3/4 of a mile long. That's all one long exhibit hall.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, I looked at and I knew it was going to be huge. I looked at that map, then I actually got there, and I'm just like, the hell. It just looking at the map doesn't do it justice.
Yeah, I remember that when I bought you those badges and surprised you guys, and I just told you, so you're going to the hall? Yeah. Okay, well, you're going to be a while. No, I know what I'm looking for. No, you're going to be a while. Trust me, I know the booze I'm looking for. Okay. We didn't see him for 4 hours.
Yeah, no, it's like the big names. They're landmarks. They are not difficult to find, like Hasbro and whatever. It's the smaller booths that they might be so popular that it might be difficult to find.
Well, most conventions, when they give you that reg pack, I admit I don't pay much attention to the reg book. You know, everybody has a book. In Comic-Con's case, they'll give you a thing that feels like a phone book to a small town, and do not lose that thing. It has lists, it has a map, it shows you where to find everything you're looking for. Keep it close. Mm-hmm. Don't let anybody touch it. It's your Bible, fuck you, pray to it. But Jesse's right, though. If you're talking about the most congested area in Comic-Con, it's definitely the area in the center and the area just left to the center. That's where all the big exhibitors who aren't necessarily selling something are, but there's a lot of convention exclusives in there, a lot of people showing off new projects and studios. Even movie companies showing off new stuff upcoming. So if you want to get through an area quickly, try to avoid the middle. One tip I found out early on is that if you're on one end of the dealer's hall and you need to get to the other, honestly, exit the hall and walk through the lobby. You'll probably save yourself more than a few minutes that way. Don't walk outside because you will not save any time on that sidewalk.
You'll roast out there.
Good to know.
Now, Hall H is a different beast entirely. I mean, everybody by now has probably seen the pictures of the lineup that's outside that hall. They've got this mini park outside that they rope off in this snaking line to get you through it. The only problem is, though, if there's a marquee panel going on that day, if there's a serious big-name panel, and in this case that would be like DC Entertainment, Legendary with the Warcraft movie, there's a couple other things I've heard of that are notable. A Doctor Who panel, stuff like that. Honestly, plan your day around it. You could spend all morning in line and not get into the hall, period.
Yeah.
I've heard many stories of people who would wait in line for Hall
days.
Yeah.
That doesn't seem great.
It depends on what you're into. To the people that get in, that's Valhalla. That's it. You're in an enclosed room, very likely with the stars of whatever project you're going to see. That's what Hall H is reserved for. The biggest of the big when it comes to panels.
Yep.
And unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on who you are, they do not clear the room between panels. So people have been known to sit through 3 or 4 panels they're not interested in to get to what they want to see.
Mm-hmm.
The only consistent piece of news I've heard about this particular room is actually 2. One, there are bathrooms inside, so just because you get up doesn't necessarily mean you lose your seat. But if you exit, there is no re-entry. You got to stand in line again.
Mm-hmm.
Item number 2, though, I've heard that if you sit in this room, and I have yet to do it, bring a blanket. Because of the amount of bodies in it, they keep it pretty frigid in there.
Interesting. But, okay.
But just because you don't get into Hall H doesn't mean you can't see everything. It turns out all days there will be a replay in the Omni in a particular room. They'll replay the major bits from the panels out there. This is a question for Brandon as a local and for anybody who's gone. What would you guys say about food? How do you prep food?
Well, I mean, they do have a lot of food around the area, so that's nice. But again, those are restaurant prices and so forth.
Right? Yeah.
You can find cheap places, you can find expensive places. But
I would say right across from the Comic-Con convention or the San Diego Convention Center are probably some of the most expensive areas. But as you start walking north, away from the building, the prices start dropping relatively quickly.
Yeah, I mean, just the businesses around the area, they aren't stupid. They know how many people are coming. They've seen it happen year after year after year. They don't have to charge an arm and a leg to feel like they're going to make a buck. They know, that they can easily get away with charging a reasonable price and still making a profit because they're just going to have that many people.
Oh, dude! Every year for the last 3 years, when you get to about 3 blocks north of the convention center on 5th Street and Market, I have seen a sign spinner advertising Subway $5 footlongs.
Yeah.
Okay.
The downside to that is, of course, there are a lot of people. So if you're expecting to eat right away, you're probably going to have to wait a little bit.
Yeah.
But as far as like breakfast and just general food wise and everything, it definitely helps to bring a snack, especially like if you're going to be wandering around all day and you find something you want to do, have some snacks on you. It'll save you from having a lot of issues with all the heat and everything else. Bring water.
Yeah, I would recommend everybody, regardless of sex, find a bag that can fit at least 2 bottles of water, a high protein snack, be it fish or meat of some sort, and very likely a salty snack as well, because you're going to sweat out a lot of nutrients just moving through the building.
Yeah, I brought trail mix last year, and that worked really well.
Trail mix? That's a good idea.
Good idea. Okay.
I brought canned tuna and wheat thins, and that worked out for me.
So it's best advice or best practice to bring your own food and snacks, just because of the amount of people that are going to be there.
Yeah, and that's not even because of local pricing. I would just say it's a smart idea to do that because you never know when you're going to get a chance to stop. If you're an avid fan of multiple fandoms, or if you're a fan of one particular fandom and that's all you want to see, there is so much stuff between the exhibit hall and panels, your daily schedule could fill up rapidly. You could be rushing from point to point and not realize you skipped lunch 3 hours ago and it's almost time for dinner.
Okay. Good to know.
Let me see, the surrounding area, though, the gas lamp, fucking vibrant. It's probably the best area I've ever seen to hold a convention in. Because there is so much shit going on outside. And let's just skip the third-party events for a minute, because that's part of the conversation. If you've been down there, the place is littered with not just restaurants, but lounges, bars, specialty shops. There is all kinds of shit to get into down there, outside of Comic-Con. I mean, Steve and I were wandering around, and we were just looking for food. And not only did we wander into food that was reasonably priced, we wandered into a third-party event.
Yep.
Nice. Awesome.
For Frixie, and the prices were even pretty good. But if you were looking for something to do, and you're not really into going to a convention or Comic-Con at that moment or anything else going on, there are easy places to wander. I wandered into a bar by accident just checking it out because they had a mechanical bull in the window. And when I say that, because they were allowing people to ride it. The place was called the Double Deuce, which is kind of funny because they have a picture of Patrick Swayze in one of the outer doors there. Total Roadhouse joke if you don't understand. But you wander into the place, and I watched the guy running the mechanical bull. When a guy would jump on it, he would make that thing kick massively. If a busty woman jumped on it, he would make that move slow and jerk a lot. The guy had a weird sense of humor, but he had the room rolling.
Wow.
And there's theme bars all over the place. They opened up a place called the Werewolf down there just last year.
Nice.
There is all kinds of places to wander all over the city. If I had a personal recommendation for a place for people to go, it'd be called the Harbor House. It's a bit of a walk away from the convention center along the harbor. It's this 2-story restaurant building. And when you look at the menu, you might faint, but take heart, because if you look at the hamburgers, they offer $12 burgers, and they give you a panoramic view of the harbor. I took Karen down there, and it was a nice night out with my wife. But even better is the fucking stories that they could tell. I asked the waiter, so what's it like when all of us are wandering around here? And he takes one look at my badge, and he says, it's awesome. And I said, well, how awesome? He said, well, there was a guy yesterday who served a couple people, right? And I said, yeah. He said, well, he got a little pissy because they didn't leave him a tip. I said, oh, that sucks. Until he picked up his napkin. What was under the napkin? And he leans into me real close and says, 2 VIP Comic-Con badges.
Nice!
Damn.
And I said, are you shitting me? And he says, no. They left a note with it that says, we're leaving today. Thought you could use this. Enjoy.
Nice.
And I asked him, "Where's the waiter, man? I got to congratulate you." And he said, "Oh, he took the day off." Oh, fuck.
Wow.
So, that happened. But, yeah, what about the third-party events, man? I mean, Jesse, Steve, and Brandon can tell you, you turn around and throw a rock, you're not hitting one event. You're hitting 2 events and probably 8 people in it.
Yeah. Last year they had the obstacle course challenge for the
Assassin's Creed. Which is back.
They had, I mean, just all kinds of like the Tomb Raider thing that we wandered into, that time we were just looking for food and showing off the new 4-player
the top-down
Tomb Raider game, as well as letting you play all kinds of other games and what was that weird? They had that weird monster thing that they ended up having on King of the Nerds, and he was just sitting out there. He was just sitting out there on a street.
Oh, yeah, some guy brought out a giant animatronic monster, and he was just sitting there making it talk to people, take pictures, and belittling individuals.
Yeah, it was great.
Which included me.
And then later on, we ended up seeing it on King of Geeks, or King of the Nerds.
King of the Nerds.
And,
yeah,
just there's always something going on outside.
It's not just the third-party advertising events like Vikings or Game of Thrones or Sleepy Hollow and shit. There's also just people giving up like the absolute best and brightest of their fandom. Walking down one street, Steve and I, or Karen and I, depending on who you're talking about, saw a perfect recreation of the Ecto 1.
Yeah.
A perfect recreation of the Knight Rider 2000. Yep. One of the a Gotham PD squad car painted up by the Joker. The dog truck from Dumb and Dumber.
Huh.
There is all kinds of people just showing off what they can do as nerds for no other reason than because
people would appreciate it.
Yeah.
They're at a place where people would be like, "Oh, dude."
There can be some amazing stuff going on. You got to keep your ears open and subscribe to as many Twitter feeds as you can related to Comic-Con. Last year, The Walking Dead had a special promo where if you took a picture of a map that led to Terminus and you were one of the first 200 people to present it at a special location outside the Hilton Gas Lamp, they let you into a private barbecue that had some of the stars from the TV show every evening of Comic-Con.
Yep. That's
nice.
Sick. Wow. So when you're at Comic-Con, not only do you have to kind of have you don't have to, but like if you were to attend panels or events, for a full schedule on your phone, but also keep an eye on social media at the same time the entire day. That's crazy.
Yeah, which is why I'm not very good at third-party events when it comes to Comic-Con, because I am not as invested in my smartphone as a lot of people are. I tend to ignore a lot of it because I'm busy.
At least you have one.
So I would highly recommend in the 2 weeks before the convention checking out every website you can of vendors or shows you think may appear at Comic-Con, because even if they're not inside, odds are they're going to try and pull something off. And the area is so forgiving that they will often will. There's a restaurant out there every year off 5th Street that redecorates itself for some kind of advertisement. Last year it was one of those I think it was the Resurrection TV show. The year before that, it was Defiance. Not only did they recreate the city of Defiance and the marquee of the restaurant, they put out dual language menus in both English and the alien language.
Interesting.
Wow.
That's cool. I like that dedication. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah. Now, convention exclusives. Holy shit.
Oh, boy.
It's a business unto itself. If you think there is an exclusive you want, you might want to dedicate your first day or a full day to trying to obtain it, because depending on where you go, it's difficult. Some booths like Viz may be easier. Some booths like Capcom, they run their own line, and because of the crowding in the dealer's hall, they will cap those lines. If they have too many people, they'll say no more for now, and you got to come back later.
Yeah, and then there's other people that will just hand out tickets. If you don't have a ticket, you can't get in.
Yeah, Hasbro is one of those special cases. The Hasbro booth, with the exception of Preview Night, Preview Night is first come, first serve because they don't have the opportunity to hand out tickets. The rest of the days, you have to go to another location, usually the Sailors Pavilion, where somebody is handing out tickets for a time frame. It'll give you like a 30-minute window to buy something from the booth. And if your ticket doesn't match the current time frame of the day, you can't get in at all. Okay, it's very difficult to get into the Hasbro booth. Occasionally, if you are very lucky, you will wander by during a time where it's close to the end of a time period. No one is there. Some stuff may have sold out, and then the security guy will just say, "Yeah, you can walk through there." Don't count on that. It's happened to me twice. It's happened to me twice in 2 years. I've gotten something from the Hasbro booth, but both times it wasn't because I was looking for it. It was both times I was walking by the booth and went, "This looks empty. Can I go in there?" Yes. Catch me if you can, fucker.
Okay. All right. Good to know. Because there's something that I was thinking about too the other day. It was like when it comes to some Comic-Con exclusives, I was kind of wondering how would be the best to approach it.
Does anybody have a particular item they're looking for, or a battle plan, or anything?
I want that One Piece thing that's at the Viz booth.
Okay, so I know where you're headed.
Yeah.
I'm still debating whether or not to get that Devastator from Hasbro.
You better end your debate soon, son. It's time to come up with a plan if you're going to do it.
I know. I'm looking at comparison photos between the original toy and third-party shit. This thing's fucking huge.
It is.
Is there a link to all of the exclusives for Comic-Con?
I came across one by accident while I was researching. I bet you I could find one in pretty short order if I try. But it's a matter of... oh, wait. Actually, yeah, I have a list of booths with exclusives on Comic-Con's website. It actually wasn't too hard to find this. This is a list of all the companies with Comic-Con exclusives. There is... I want to say there's over 1,000 exclusives to be had if you try to hunt all of them.
Oh, wow.
But, I mean, all the booths with exclusives are stuff you kind of expect, except for the fact that a lot of these booths aren't the bigger booths. I don't see Marvel's name on here, I don't see DC's name on here, and they often have their own exclusives. I don't see Fox Movies, who sometimes has their own stuff. You know, these are all appears to be smaller booths that have their own exclusives at the convention.
Okay. All right.
Which is kind of amazing when you think about it in that format. Even the San Diego Public Library has some kind of con exclusive.
The hell?
I'd be interested in checking that out. They probably sell like books there.
Or vouchers for books.
Yeah, most libraries have a little bookstore next to them.
Yeah, Gentle Giant, they do a lot of exclusives through the year. I think they come out with a line of stuff just for this. I love the fact that they listed themselves as vendor that has an exclusive. Comic-Con International and the Marriott Marina Ballroom D. In other words, their shirts and shit. That's their con exclusive. Man, if I had money, though, I would attack Alex Ross Art. That guy does a lot of beautiful work for comic books. I have one exclusive I actually need to hunt down. I found out there is going to be an exclusive version of the She-Hulk Kotobukiya. They're doing a red She-Hulk.
Oh, nice. Awesome.
But I don't know if I'll have the time to do that.
Huh.
Anybody have any questions they want to ask about Comic-Con prep?
How much... I imagine we're going to be doing a lot of walking, right?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Invest in comfortable insoles.
Yeah, if you have flat feet, Dr. Scholl's would be a good idea. You know, I would say a fresh pair of shoes, but this is not the place to break in shoes. You need your shoes already broken in and adapted to your feet.
Okay.
Maybe if I can break something in before then.
That might be an idea. Start wearing them now, though.
Yeah.
Anthony, anything you want to ask before we I almost said endanger ourselves, but undertake this little expedition?
This grand adventure. As far as I'm concerned, I mean, like I said earlier on, like as I was planning out, what I'm planning to do for Comic-Con, the sudden realization that there's a lot more events happening outside of Comic-Con that I've yet to put down as what I want to check out.
Yeah. Do you guys want an example of what's going on outside Comic-Con?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Okay, just on July 8th, which I believe is preview night, if I remember correctly. Fuck, I need a calendar. Okay, yeah, July 8th is preview night. Just on preview night, which is the soft opening of Comic-Con that only allows a limited number of people inside, there's 18 events happening that day.
Jesus.
the Cat Cafe Coffee and Kitties.
And
it's an actual cat cafe.
Oh, literally. Oh, okay.
It's not cat girls. It's cats.
So,
okay.
So do you sit down with a cup of Joe and just have a cat with you?
Pet.
Yeah, or if you're a vindictive fucker, you sit down with a cup of Joe and pour it on a cat near you. You know, I don't know what you're thinking.
And then get scratched to death.
But to summarize it real quick, the Cat Cafe for $20, you get 30 minutes in the cafe, a drink or food item, and a chance to spend 30 minutes with the cats from the San Diego Humane Society.
So a chance, it's not guaranteed.
Well, they're offering 30-minute spots of 15 people, and it's going from 8:30 a.m. to 3:15 p.m. You know, obviously they got a limited attendance because they don't want people wandering in and out and cats escaping all over the city. That would be kind of a fucking disaster.
Mm-hmm.
That there'll probably be some avid person who suddenly thinks Catwoman has escaped and is about to steal his bag. But, 18 events just on the night before Comic-Con officially opens. The Cat Cafe Coffee and Kitties, The Art of Comic-Con, Comics Online Comic-Con pre-preview night tweet-up, GamerCon, Circle Screening, Conan O'Brien taping an episode of his show, Comic Art Now exhibit, Brian Posehn, Enchantment Under the SBCC Dance, Girls Night Out Happy Hour Adventure with Christina Lauren, HopCon 3.0 The Boot Stout Festival, The Art of Mortal Kombat 9 and 10 and Star Wars Art, Forbidden Panels Annual Comic-Con Dinner, Doug Benson Doug Loves Movies Comic-Con Special Podcast, Game of Bloggers Meetup, Gabe Eltrup's second annual Comic Kickoff Fundraiser, Skeletor's Lair Pop-Up Shop, and Brian Posehn doing another recording at 9:30.
Nice.
That's the night before Comic-Con officially opens, man.
That is awesome.
There's even events happening the day before.
Yeah, I saw there were some events even happening like the day before, 2-3 days before the event.
Dude, if I had the money to stay the extra night by myself, that would be awesome because they're doing a screening of How to Train Your Dragon 2 at Stone Brewing on Tuesday the 7th. That would be a fun night out with nerds.
If it was I would make my way down.
But of the days of actual Comic-Con, when it comes to third-party events, there's only one day during the 4 days of Comic-Con that has less than 30 third-party events going on.
Wow. Oh, man, I'm excited.
It goes as low as 21 on Sunday to as high as 45 events happening on Saturday.
Sick.
Damn.
I'm excited, man. I'm so glad. Oh.
I have to admit I'm nervous.
It's okay. We'll take you out on Saturday night and show you a good time with a guy that tells a bunch of penis jokes.
I haven't been to a convention since I was 14, going to Star Trek convention.
I wish our rooming situation was a little better, and for the sake of our own privacy, I'm not going to say what that is, but being what it is, I have a feeling that as soon as the sun is up, a lot of us are either going to be bathing, eating, or gone.
Yeah, you pick one hell of a convention to come back to for so long.
Yeah.
At least for the first time ever, the team is going to be all in one building.
Yeah, that is true.
You know, we get to sit down and actually eat with each other, talk with each other, and find out how much we actually hate each other in real life.
Just like real friends do.
Anybody have any events they're looking forward to?
I haven't even got a chance to look at the whole full schedule yet.
Yeah, I'm still looking through this whole thing. I do have a couple of notes down in terms of panels I'm going to go check out at Comic-Con. So, for people who are listening, I only got badges for Thursday and Sunday. But...
Yeah, picture registration.
Yeah, that happened.
Yeah.
But what I was going to say is I am so glad that Capcom is having their panel on Thursday because it's probably the one I'm really looking forward to, and that's the Street Fighter V panel. I'm really excited for the Street Fighter V game, and I'm sure they're going to show 2 new characters at this panel like they did last year for the other games. So I'm really excited to check that out.
And you're probably going to the Capcom booth eventually.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
definitely. I'm going to go there, play the game, but also I might buy a thing or two. But yeah,
a thing or two. They have con exclusives out the yang in San Diego, man. There's stuff here that you can't find anywhere besides WonderCon, which just happens to be Comic-Con's other convention.
Right, definitely. I mean, I still have my Comic-Con exclusive from last year. A friend of mine bought it for me. I got the Mega Man red helmet. Comic-Con exclusive, so yeah, it's pretty cool.
Oh, are you getting the green one this year?
I think I'm good. I'll stick with the red.
I got that green one out of a loot crate last year.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, however, the box, it occurred to me after it was edited the last show, your box probably didn't have Comic-Con exclusive printed on the side of it.
Oh, hell no, it had loot crate exclusives printed on it.
Yeah.
It's still a pretty nice piece of stuff, the piece of thing to have.
You know, I am moderately curious when it comes to the the Skeletor's Lair pop-up store. I almost want to see that just to find out what the fuck is happening here. But the other advantage to all this third-party stuff is that some of it is ticketed, some of it is not, but there's a bunch of parties happening during the nights of Comic-Con.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking over the third-party schedule on night 1. The Great Royal Marshmallow Comic-Con after-party is happening at a bar called Somewhere Loud. It's $22.50 to get into that. You could go to a comedy and burlesque show for $12 that night. You could go to the Black Phoenix and Comic Book Legal Defense Fund Alchemy Labs kickoff party, and that's free.
That's cool. Holy shit, that's awesome. Wow. Yeah, there's definitely some stuff I got going through the entire list and see what else I'm going to add to it. But I'm excited, man. Like, there's a lot of cool stuff happening.
Okay, I think we scared the shit out of enough people because all that's left to do is record the show while we're there and talk about what the fuck happened.
Oh, yeah. The heart.
And I don't think you'll mind, Anthony, but since we're all in one building, we might as well do like a Rolling 20s / Conover podcast and just get it all out of the way. We're all going to be there.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
There will be no questions left to be had. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah, definitely. No doubt. My question is...
All our minds are free.
My question is, what day would we be able to do it on?
I would say Sunday would probably be the best day. Because goodness knows, while the convention's going on, nobody's going to want to break long enough to actually sit down for 2 hours and talk stupid shit.
Good point.
Yeah.
By then, we'll have our just memories of what happened that entire weekend.
By then, I could almost see it. Welcome to the Rolling 20s. I am Jeremy. Anyone else awake? No. Fuck it. We're done. Thank you.
We'll just be like half asleep. It's like, hey, my name is...
Hey, Jeremy, I got one thing. I got one thing to ask. This crossed my mind. What advice do you have for people who are wanting to cosplay there?
That's a good question, actually. Cosplay, when it comes to Comic-Con, is not as big of a priority as it is at other conventions due to body density and the fact that Comic-Con is less of a convention than a trade show. You know, that's really the place where you're going to feed your fandom. It's where you're going to buy exclusives that no one else will be able to get outside of 3 times the price on eBay anyway. And there are cosplay gatherings going on, however, because of the density and the way the building is laid out, most of them are behind the building in badge-only access areas. So it's not like random people can ghost walk up and take photos. You know, if you're not in the con, you're not seeing it. So cosplay is less of a priority here.
I was
going to say, you could still do it and have fun and have gatherings and stuff. It's just, it's not going to be a huge deal. And all I can say is, from a personal standpoint, make it breathable. No nylon, or no latex. No heavy fabrics if you can avoid it. You know, make sure that whatever it is, you can feel air on your skin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, from what I've looked up about cosplaying at Comic-Con, is like, it is not much of I mean, people do cosplay at Comic-Con, but they rather would be outside or like in another area instead of inside the convention center.
You're not cosplaying inside, period. That's not happening.
Mm-hmm.
Actually,
if you're having a group, that can't occur.
Yeah, because people would go up and just like take your picture for like.
No, that's not the problem. The problem is that they have traffic rules on the floor of the exhibit hall. They tell you keep moving. If anybody tries to sit along the wall, the first thing they tell you is, "Sorry, sir, you can't sit there. Get up, please."
Oh, I see.
You know, you will not be able to stop long. You might be able to snap a quick selfie in the exhibit hall. You might be able to take a quick photo. But as far as getting 2 or 3 people together, you'll be lucky if you can get that to work.
Oh, wow. So there's always a constant motion, everybody, of getting to point A to point B.
In the halls, yes. In the entrance area might be the best place to actually do something like that, because that's where I see most people in costume.
It's
between the glass and between the walls.
Yeah, in the lobby area. It's still a pain in the ass, though, because cross-traffic is everywhere. You might be waiting a couple of minutes before things clean out long enough for you to get a photo. So, I mean, it occurs. I just wouldn't count on it as a heavy part of your experience unless that's specifically what you're looking for.
Okay.
But And before we go, Christopher Sturm was nice enough to take over for a few minutes because I had a scheduling conflict with the head of the Suicide Girls, Missy. They're having a special burlesque show at Comic-Con, and he took a few minutes to interview her, so we're going to play that for you guys right now before we wrap it up.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Mission Start podcast segment. I'm Christopher Sturm, and today, as of June 11th, I'm going to be interviewing the one, the only Missy Suicide of Suicide Girls.
Hello, it's nice to be here with you.
Nice to interview you. So, as we were saying earlier, this is my first big interview, and of course, as you've mentioned, you've done several interviews, and I'm very gracious that that you were so open to doing an interview with us.
Lately it's been crazy with the Richard Prince stuff.
Yeah.
Been like Fox News and Vogue and all sorts of things. Can you hear me still?
Yeah, no, I can still hear you just fine.
Okay. Yeah, it's been a crazy whirlwind of interviews. New York Times and NPR, which was crazy, stressful, and so hard to do.
Yeah, I noticed, like, as soon as the article took off, it was pretty much the only thing that I had seen. It was just like, oh, hey, here's this, things that I can't say without being censored. But, this guy, Richard Prince, he goes and he took screen caps of your Instagram, or your organization's Instagram photos and sold it to a museum for $90,000 a pop.
Yeah, individual art collectors for $90,000 a pop. He sold he stole not from just us, but from a bunch of people. I think there were like 37 prints total or something. A bunch of art of the Suicide Girls personal images, a bunch of other bloggers and like artists and people's Instagrams, and sold 37 of them, I think, for $90,000.
Yeah, and it's just insane to think, like, well, I mean, not to play devil's advocate, but at least, he didn't crop out the name on it that says, like, oh, hey, by the way, this was posted by Suicide Girls, or anything like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's part of his whole shtick, though, is, like, making it recognizable, his source material recognizable.
So, I mean, to one degree, I mean, you can consider that skirting around plagiarism, even though it's totally ripping you off. But I really like the direction that you decided to go in, which was saying, like, okay, well, you're going to go ahead and do that, so we'll replicate the exact same thing at, quote, 99.9% off original price.
Yeah, we wanted to make the artwork affordable for the people that were actually featured in the art.
And I have to say, I'm actually impressed with the photos that you do have available for, the Instagram prints. And I have to say, granted that Mr. Prince wasn't exactly too great about his approach in doing his art, at least he had good taste on what photos to go with.
Yeah, he did pick some good ones, so
yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I'm a big fan of the Stormtrooper one.
Awesome, yeah. That was Rie from Italy.
I
think that's how you say the name. It's so hard because all of the girls have, you see their screen name and you think that it's pronounced one way, and then when I actually meet them, they're like, oh, it's not, it's like Rie or something. And I'm like, oh, I've been pronouncing it wrong in my head all these years until I meet you.
Yeah, honestly, I actually did for the longest time think her name was Rie just because of how it was spelled. And I have to say, I'm a huge fan.
Who knows? I think it's Rie, though. But I am not exactly sure.
And I have to say, I'm actually a big fan of the tattoo that she has on her back. The octopus and the girl that's on there.
Yeah.
I'm just a huge fan of tentacular creatures, so I just thought, like, oh, hey, it's just a beautiful mix between the two. But
yeah, she's awesome.
But I digress. So, considering that San Diego Comic-Con is going to be coming up, I just kind of wanted to get some more information about you, your company, and, just what brought you from your starting points wow, 13, 14 years ago to where we are now?
Ah, that's a big question. Can we break it up into littler ones?
Oh, of course. So one of the first things that I ended up finding out doing my research was that you started out in Portland, Oregon. And
yes.
Now, if you don't mind my asking, well, I have family up there, so just knowing that, like, oh, hey, your headquarters is, like, 20 minutes away from where my dad lives, it's, fantastic news. But, with the whole Keep Portland Weird thing, was that a huge thing before you started, or did that happen to go about when you started the company?
Oh, no, that's its own deal. I mean, so I started, I'm from Portland originally, and have, and grew up there, and it's definitely a unique place. Like, all that Portlandia stuff is more true than we would like to admit. But it's definitely, I don't know. We moved our headquarters in 2003, I think. So it's been to Los Angeles. So Portland is definitely a unique place that has its own vibe to it. I don't know. They have a love-hate relationship with me there. All the press is always negative because it's but it's the Portland ethos, and like being from Portland, I totally get it. Where anything that's popular is no longer cool, or anything that is perceived as popular is no longer cool, and like I left, and so it's it's kind of like a double-edged thing to know. I mean, I get why they are not always supportive, but I don't know if that answered your question.
No, actually,
that's diplomatic.
No, actually, that's a pretty good way to encompass it. For our listeners who have never had a chance to go to Oregon or check out Portland, on vacation or what have you, gotta say that the area itself, it's fantastic. Lots of clean air, especially compared to California, because it's sweltering and it's just terrible. But
yeah, I mean, it was the best place in the world to grow up. I mean, I firmly believe it was the best place to raise a rebel youth because it was a big enough town that you could get into some trouble, but it was a small enough town that you couldn't get into any real trouble. It was a close-knit community. You saw the same people on the streets all the time, and so if anything, people were always kind of looking out after you. It was just, and there was real stuff to rebel against. So, because Portland is sort of this enclave of liberalness and artistic and celebrating individuality, but the state that surrounds it and the area that surrounds it is quite conservative. So there was quite a lot to rebel against as well.
Yeah, because I was just going to say that, just looking at Portland, it's a great place for artistic freedom, especially if you're, get the chance to take a look over at some of the flea markets and stuff like that they have over there. And, you have an opportunity to see just, a very diverse range of artistic pieces. And not a lot of that's super kosher with more conservative mindset.
Yeah, I mean, there's such a wide range of art. I mean, I was telling somebody the other day about the Church of Elvis, which is, a lot of people have heard of it now, but it's not about Elvis Presley. It's about this man that was a local scene fixture that he was called Elvis, and it was this art installation where you could get married at a vending machine, and it was this really unique sort of inspired art, and voodoo donuts, and I mean the whole scene there is so supportive and amazing, and I mean I don't think that Suicide Girls could have been started anyplace else.
And on that note, I was asking around just to get a better frame of what sort of questions I should ask. And a friend of mine who happens to live in London, she was wondering, at any point has it crossed like the whiteboard for ideas to possibly branch out into making a quote-unquote Suicide Boys sort of branch out?
Oh man, we've had a Suicide Boys group for almost since the site began, and it's I feel like we've definitely seen an evolution in the photos that the guys take. I mean, when the site first started, the images that Suicide Boys would take, and it's a different sort of site because it's a group on the site that members can show their members. It's not it's not the same sort of celebration as the Suicide Girls portion of the site, but there's definitely an area for them to express themselves, and the I don't know, there's such a long and storied history of like girls in pinup photos and getting in touch with their sort of with themselves and with their sexuality and with their feeling confident through these like beautiful pinup images and like artwork. The nude female form is probably the most celebrated subject matter in all of art history. So there's a lot of history there, whereas like there's not the same amount of history for nude male images. There's like the Greek statues, and then kind of a dearth, and then there's the sort of like all the erotic images of men are mainly for other men. So I think that the guys are really exploring what is sexy to a woman, and how they feel sexy about themselves, and it's just a bit more of an evolution. But there's a group on the site that the boys have been posting in for a dozen years or so, that you can view all of the evolution of it.
Okay, because like I said, we were looking around and I didn't immediately see it, and she ended up bringing that up, and it's like, oh yeah, that'd probably be a good thing to address while I have the chance to get a hold of you.
Yeah, on the other side, on the old version of the site, there was like a tab or something for the Suicide Boys group, but on this version, it's just if you search, or if you if you search, I can see if I can pull it up right now,
But while you're bringing that up, though, I have to say I'm actually really excited for San Diego Comic-Con coming up next month, because you're going to be doing the Blackheart burlesque show on the 9th. And
yeah, we're doing the burlesque show on the 9th. It's always our favorite show to do, one of our favorites of the year, because we get to try out all the numbers that we're going to do for the fall, and it's our chance to connect with our our hardcore fan base, and so they get to see everything, and there's always more girls than we take out on tour, and more numbers, and it's a super fun show that the audience is just really into and gives us amazing amounts of feedback.
And so I've never actually had a chance to go see any of the shows when it was on tour, and I had the opportunity to. But now you mentioned that like it allows the fans to get a quick glimpse as to what's going to show up next. So with that in mind, would you consider it more of a sample piece, just to say like, hey, these are all particular outfits or themes that we might work with down the road? Or is it just to say, hey, we really like these specific outfits, this particular theme, these particular models, and we wanted to go ahead and show everyone who's able to see on tour?
I mean, we try out new numbers, so it's a lot of like, hey, how does the audience react to this, and how does it look with this many girls, and so it's kind of a show that's bigger in some ways than the rest of the tour. You know, it's not quite as polished, but it's a lot more. There's just a lot more that we try, and we get feedback from the audience and make adjustments and stuff.
So it's more just a free-form experience rather than, you know, a set thing, right?
Oh, no. I mean, no, it's definitely, it's a show. It's a Suicide Girls burlesque show, but there's more numbers and there are more girls in it, and so we get to try out new numbers and see how the audience reacts to them. So like, you know, if we want to do a Pokemon number or something for the fall tour, we might try out a Pokemon number at the burlesque show at Comic-Con and see if the audience reacts to it, or see if, you know, people are like, huh? I don't get it, Squirtle, what? You know, or if they're, you know, because it gives us an opportunity to perform in front of like our hardcore fan base. So if they don't get something, then it's probably not going to work overall. So it just gives us a chance to try out our numbers, our ideas that we've been working on.
Yeah, I get you. Speaking of conventions, though, I noticed that like even for semi-large conventions like Fanime, that you guys haven't had an opportunity to show up. Just out of curiosity, but like for the conventions that your group goes to, do you try to keep it focused primarily on more Western-themed conventions like, well, Comic-Con, WonderCon, like in 2011, which is actually when I had the first opportunity to find out about your group.
Was WonderCon?
Yeah, WonderCon 2011, right when Ryan Reynolds was showing off the whole Green Lantern movie and everything.
Yeah. Yeah, we've been to Comic-Cons and WonderCon pretty consistently for I think 7 years now. So we try to do them every year. They're everybody's favorite. They, you know, we don't do a whole lot of conventions overall. There's maybe 1 or 2 tattoo conventions and 1 or 2 comic conventions, and you know, but the ones that we do we really enjoy.
Okay, I just kind of wanted to get a better idea on that, because I've had about 3 different opportunities to, including the one that's coming up in for San Diego Comic-Con. I'll have had 3 opportunities to actually get, you know, a better look at your group, and honestly, every time I've had a chance to see the models that you had over there, what photos that you had presented, and your overall, the nature between models and fans, like, it's all very positive, and I honestly admire that a hell of a lot. And one of the...
I don't know if...
Oh, go ahead.
I don't know if the audio is... you keep cutting in and out slightly, so...
Yeah, I noticed that my connection's...
I don't what's wrong with the audio, but maybe we...
Yeah, I noticed that my connection's not super great right now. I don't know why. It started off so well.
Yeah.
But, anyway, all of that in mind, I'm really looking forward to having a chance to possibly, you know, hang out with you or whomever's going to be over at the San Diego Comic-Con booth. And I'm sure that every one of us, we're going to have fun over at the show. And, you know, just SDCC is going to be a lot of fun. I just know it.
It's always an amazing time.
Yeah, honestly, it's the first time I've actually had a chance to go, so I'm really looking forward to it myself. And if you don't mind me asking one last question, since I know you're a little sparse on time, it's that when it came to branching out and because I noticed that you have, what was it, over 2,700 different models. How exactly do you go about selecting the models that you have for your site?
Well, it's evolved over the years, the process, but currently we have almost 30. Wait, how many? I can't remember the exact number, but I think it's 30,000 applications a year from women around the world. And we have a team of 3 model coordinators that go through all the applications and help the girls through the process to submit a set. And then once their set gets submitted, all their paperwork and whatnot, and then once their set gets submitted, they go into member review and they become hopefuls. And so they get an opportunity to see what the site is all about and to get feedback from the community on their photo sets and really get a sense of what everything is. And then after 3 months, if they don't like it or if their set didn't get bought, then they can remove the set from the site and no harm, no foul. And if they do find that they've really connected with the community, if the community really responds positively to them, then girls become suicide girls and get their set bought as the official, as a set of the day, and they become suicide girls. And they post in pink.
Well, I have to say that it's good to know that you actually do have huge sets of like you have plenty of steps in order to actually get a model through. Because information was a bit sparse on that, so I was wondering, how do you have so many beautiful women going through and actually getting, not only photo shoots, but, multiple shots to say, hey, there's this particular theme that we're working with, and, just making sure that each model actually does have some diversity rather than being, well, for lack of a better word, a one-trick pony. So, I really respect that.
Thank you. Yeah, we really strive to make the photo shoots about each girl's individual personality, and how she feels confident and sexy about the world, or about herself, and to share it with the world. It's about the model more so than the photographer, and we give very strict guidelines to our photographers to help bring about how the model feels sexiest, which is kind of rare in photography in general.
Actually, on that note, now when you're going through a photo shoot, what sort of things do you normally come across if, say, it's a model's first time doing photography? Now, I know that one of the big missions for your site is to embrace, female strength and say, hey, we want you to be empowered to feel that you're totally in control of everything that's going on here. So, if it's not too much, would you be able to sort of go through the process of how a modeling shot typically goes?
Each one is different. Each of the sets are different, and I feel like the important thing is that the models come off as confident, and we've got hundreds of thousands of hopeful sets on the site that you can see kind of the breadth and depth of what is involved in the different photo shoots that the girls do. Everything from cosplay to movie themes to deeply personal themes. There is no typical shoot.
I see. Well, I mean, I'm just glad that you try and do everything that's possible to help the model feel that hey, you're in a safe place. You can be who you are. Do you do you.
Yes, exactly.
And so with San Diego Comic-Con coming up, one of the few things I'm wondering is when you're setting up your booth, it is also going to be doubling as an at-con shop, correct?
You can purchase merchandise at, we're going to be at booth 1730.
So keep that in mind, everyone, 1730. But yeah, having a chance to... Oh, go ahead.
You can meet us at Comic-Con, you can meet the girls, they'll sign stuff, it's a really fun time. You can take pictures with them, purchase books and magazines and your t-shirts and whatnot, and it's a really fun time. You can get our comic book. There's tons of opportunities there. It's really fun.
Yeah, and based off of the first, and if it's anyone's first time, having a chance to, meet the team and everything like that. First time I met them, I had just turned 18, and needless to say, it was intimidating at first, but after getting to know, the models and say, hey, we're just doing this because it's fun and it's interesting, it became just a really nice experience. So I definitely recommend all of our listeners to go check out the booth when you get the chance. And if possible, be sure to place an order for your tickets for the burlesque show, so long as you're 18 and over. And tickets range from, 25 to 65?
I'm not sure. The prices are on the site. I think it's 25 for general admission, and then I think there's like a row of seats up in the balcony that not sure. I think that those are selling quickly, so if you want a seat, you should buy tickets now. And there's like a VIP experience that costs an additional amount if you wanted to do meet and greet with the girls or whatnot. So we try to make it as fun for all of the fans as they can.
Well, it's always good to hear. And the team and I, not sure who's going to have the opportunity to check out the burlesque show, but we're really looking forward to the whole experience, and it should be a great night. I can guarantee that much.
Yep. It'll be super fun. It's always an unforgettable night, and everybody has a blast. So, thank you so much for interviewing me.
Oh, no problem. And if you don't mind my asking, where can everyone who's listening check you out?
They can come to suicidegirls.com. They can buy tickets for the Blackheart Burlesque at blackheartburlesque.com. They can find us on Instagram at Suicide Girls, at Twitter at Suicide Girls, Facebook at /Suicide Girls. Yes, they should check us out.
And of course, each model has their own Instagram feed as well. So, I mean, if you're looking at just checking out a specific model, then as long as you know which name you're going for, then you can easily follow them. And then, of course, as for us, you guys are listening on Mission Start Podcasts, and you can find my work on the site. And of course, you can find me on all my previously mentioned Facebook and Twitter page, Facebook and Tumblr pages. But I have to say, Missy, it was a pleasure having the opportunity to interview you today, and I'm glad that you were the first big name that I had a chance to talk with.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'm sorry, I just really have to go, but I'm really glad to have done it. It was nice speaking with you.
It was nice speaking with you as well, and I'm sorry if I kept you a little longer than expected, but I have to say I had a blast with this whole interview.
It's alright, thank you.
No problem. Hope you have a great day.
Bye, you too.
To summarize, before we check out of here and start talking about who's going to be where and who gets to run the Walking Dead escape, the major thing that I guess we could all summarize to would be, 1, make sure that you bring some level of food if you're not stocking up for the whole weekend. Make sure you have a couple snacks to get you through. 2, make sure your clothes are, I don't want to say loose, but no tight clothes. You're not doing yourselves any favor in that humidity.
Mm-hmm.
Number 3, bring a bag that you can store a few things, including snacks, water, and possibly a hoodie or sweatshirt, because when the temperature drops in humidity, it can get cold fast. Okay. And number 4, rest is important. Don't pull all-nighters. You're doing nobody no favors. I mean that seriously. Whether you're camping out for Hall H all night, or whether you're just out there to party with other nerds, or whether you're actually trying to run the halls to get that exclusive, get some rest. If you are zonked out and everything, and somebody feels like punching you out because you're an asshole, you're not helping. And we've heard the stories from Comic-Con. There was one person who stabbed somebody else in the eye with a pencil because they took their seat in Hall H.
Yes, I remember that.
Well, not in the eye, near eye. The pencil ended up in the eye socket next to the eye, so lucky as fuck, you know?
Mm-hmm, definitely.
So the next time you hear from this particular show will probably be the Anime Expo show I got to record with another MSP hopeful, Elise, and then after that you'll very likely hear our Comic-Con show, probably coming from our hotel room, because goodness knows, this is one of the few conventions there's no room to set up mobile shit.
Oh, yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. But yeah, we'll definitely be there.
So, anybody else have anything they want to add before we sign off and say, see you in the war zone?
When you go in there, don't bring a lot of shit. Pack light.
Yeah.
Actually, you did bring up one thing that Karen suggested to me, and is fucking brilliant.
What?
It's absolutely brilliant. You guys saw how we packed at the end of last Comic-Con. Karen and I had to hop a train, so we had like 4 swag bags we were tossing on top of our luggage, and it wasn't working.
Mm-hmm.
It took a long time to build up a balance. She had the most brilliant fucking idea I've ever heard. She said, bring an extra suitcase. Bring a suitcase that fits in your suitcase. Pack all your shit in the mini suitcase, so you've got one bag. When you get to Comic-Con, unpack it all so you have a suitcase to drag around with you that has your big figures, your expensive shit, and it's not being bashed around inside your luggage. You're not playing, can I fit this? You've already got a place to put it.
Right. That is smart.
And she said if you don't have the room to do it, fine, bring a gigantic suitcase, shove all your clothes in the bottom, and the top half is for swag.
Nice. Good stuff.
Good idea.
My wife's been doing conventions almost as long as I have. She's fucking genius.
Wow, I will definitely take that to note.
Yeah, it's useful for cons no matter where you go, man. That was a brilliant idea. And I give her full credit, because if I don't, she will redhead smash me. And then for any of you that have not suffered through redhead smash, fucking hurts! Alright, but I think that's about it. We've been at this 3.5 hours, and I think that's long enough to really build an idea as to what people should expect from Comic-Con and what they should expect from us from our next show. So I want to thank you all for tuning in. I invite you to roll with us again next week. It'll be our Anime Expo recap, and in 2 weeks from now, be our San Diego recap. Thank you very much. We look forward to meeting as many of you that feel like introducing yourself at Comic-Con. Have a great weekend. Have a happy summer. I am Jeremy.
Steve.
Jesse.
V.
And Anthony.
Brandon.
Don't jerk and drive. Have a great Comic-Con.
I imagine that.
Don't jerk and drive at Comic-Con. You'll get it all over my number ones. Thank you.
I imagine that'd be a little sticky.